listen to the words of the man with the rifle in his hand. Don't be mistaken, I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm ready to die, but not for a lie. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker and Adrian Wiley on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, the entire state of Washington State. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, Hernando in Orange County's favorite, most loved libertarian. A woman that don't cross, because if you do, she may cross you back. Danielle Alexandria, good morning.
Good morning.
You doing all right?
I'm doing well this morning.
Are you happy?
I am mildly happy.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm actually very excited. This is an exciting show.
This is a very exciting show.
Yes.
And not just because I'm here.
No, not at all,
But-
because you're here.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Wow, that's not very
We
nice.
have Ben Swann on at 9:30. That's exciting.
That is true, though. That is true. That is going to be exciting. Also in studio, his name is Libertarian Greg, or Schnugens, or Knobs, or you can pick one of the many names that he has.
Tiger.
Tiger. I'll also say the only guy that when he would bring in a T-shirt that quotes the Founding Fathers has to do with beer.
That's right.
And it's not Sam Adams. Greg Bowen, how are you doing this morning?
Spectacular. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing well. Excited. It's going to be an exciting show.
I am very excited about this show.
Yeah,
I'm
this will be
very
exciting on multiple levels, actually.
Yeah, I am. This is kind of a really jam-packed show all morning long.
Yep. Coming on with us in just a little bit is going to be the great Ben Swann. However, we have a couple things we got to get to before we get to Ben. This is being done by request, and because if it wasn't done by request, I wouldn't have done it. Just for the record.
Well, and it has become a big story, but originally when we saw it yesterday and the day before and all that, we had decided not to put it in the show prep because neither one of us, and we were quite sure that Greg would agree, wanted to even talk about this at all.
Yeah. This has to do with if you are unaware, which hopefully you are, actually. I hope you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I absolutely do.
It's
I wish I didn't know.
It has to do with Duck Dynasty. Duck Dynasty, it's a reality show of like ZZ Top with duck callers.
And they, at first I was surprised because I actually have never heard of Duck Dynasty before this. And so I actually did look it up to see what the show was about because I had no idea what Duck Dynasty meant. And so they made a reality show about a family who does duck calls.
Well, they made a ton of money doing it, though. I mean, these guys are, you guys made money hand over fist making duck callers. I mean, hey, look, more power to you. I'm happy that they were able to do that.
So they can properly sound like ducks, and that's profitable.
Yeah, a lot of hunters out there, man.
Before you get too
hunting ducks.
insulting on the show, I love that show.
I'm just surprised that this was a show. Like, I'm surprised that this ever became a show.
Well, to be quite honest with you, there are far less interesting people that have their own show than the Robertson clan.
The thing is I guess because I really don't, I probably could not tell you what is on TV at all. So maybe that's why, because I'm only reading like the written kind of synopsis of the show, and I'm like, and people watch this.
Yeah, I watch it. I love it. And it's not about the duck calls. The show is
I would
not
hope
about
not.
the duck calls.
Yeah, because that would be boring if it was just about the duck calls all the time.
This was a show about duck calls.
I've never watched a full episode, but I have been watching TV, and this show is on, and I've been able to go probably about 60 seconds before I turn the channel. So I've gone a whole 60 seconds. Just doesn't seem like my cup of tea, but different strokes for different folks. If Greg likes the show, then obviously there's got to be some kind of redeeming quality there. But the father is a guy by the name of Phil. And am I getting this right so far?
Yes,
Greg?
you are.
Okay. And this
Robertson.
is Phil Robertson, and he's a religious man.
Yeah.
He's a man of faith, and he's a person that will express to you his views. He's not a perfect person, he'll admit that. Mm-hmm. But he's not a perfect person, but he has his views. And he did a GQ interview, and in the GQ interview, they asked him about homosexuality. And it says, and this is a quote from him.
I just read it.
Yeah.
For the first time.
It seems to me a vagina, as a man, would be more desirable than a man's anus. That's just me. I'm just thinking. There's more there. She's got more to offer. I mean, come on, dudes. You know what I'm saying. But hey, sin, it's not logical, my man. It's just not logical. And then he also said, start with homosexual behavior and just morph out from there. Bestiality, sleeping around with this woman and that woman and that woman and those men. And because of these statements, A&E decided to basically pull him off the show. Or
he was suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, he was suspended indefinitely. Which, let me ask, here's the first thing, though. Like, if you're doing a reality show, how in the world can you suspend somebody? What, is he not allowed in his house? Because you're not doing the reality show from, like, a studio you can bar him from. He's doing it from the home, so you're just going to... Look, are you just going to cut out the scenes that have him there? Like, are you going to... you're going to cut that footage?
Apparently they are.
I guess that's what they're going to try to do here.
I mean, and it just goes to show how much is in editing anyways, that they can just cut a family member out of the show and not even think that this is going to be difficult to do.
Well, let's also keep in mind, this is all about publicity. None of this has anything to do with the quality of the show, what's on the show, or any of that. I don't remember ever hearing them talk about homosexuality in any way, shape, or form. Right. This show has caused controversy before. See, really, it's got enemies on the left, people who are with the liberal agenda. The reason it's had controversy before is at the end of every episode, the family sits down for dinner, and Phil leads the family in prayer. And he says a prayer. And that's how the show ends. And people have actually complained about that before.
Well, then they should change the channel.
They should change the channel, exactly.
They should kill their TV.
Right. My bigger issue is not with what... I mean, I could care less what he said. I mean, it was a really dumb statement to make, but I mean, I don't... it doesn't bother me at all. Now, if that's not the image that A&E would like to... have represent them, I can understand their reasoning for suspending him, which, an indefinite suspension is being fired. Let's just call it what it is. But I'm more concerned with a tweet that Ted Cruz made. And what it said was, if you believe in free speech or religious liberty, you should be deeply dismayed over the treatment of Phil Robertson. Ted Cruz, if you would understand what free speech or religious liberty meant, you would not be able to make that statement because none of his rights were actually violated by A&E suspending him. And if you're going to be up in the Senate and talking about how you're a constitutionalist, you should know that.
All right, here's my take on the whole thing. And Danielle is making an excellent point, by the way, that Cruz does not understand. And I've seen some people that have actually come out that do have a full understanding of this. And not many, but some. A&E is a private company, and as a private organization, A&E has every right to do whatever it is that they want to do when it comes to hiring and firing whoever they want to hire and fire for whatever reason that they want to hire and fire somebody. With that being said, A&E knew good damn well what this person was going to say, and I would not even be surprised if A&E had something to do with GQ asking the question. You got to remember, he didn't go out there like, I'm going to talk about, homosexuals. He went out there and they asked him about it, and he gave his answer, which he's a redneck from the woods, man. What do you think he's going to say? I know a lot of rednecks from the woods. I know what they would say. If you don't know, then you need to get yourself checked because that's what the dude was going to say. So in one aspect, A&E knew good damn well what this guy was going to say. And they're doing this, and like Greg said before, and I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but they're doing this for ratings. They're doing this to play you. Here's the thing. In order to make a reality TV show even that bigger after the ceiling that these guys have already hit, you have to get the controversy out of the show and into every other news show and every other talk show out there, so they're all talking about you. Because you know what's going to happen? They're all going to watch. Nobody's going to, look, they could give a crap less if there's an LGBT group up in arms or a GLAAD group that's pissed off. They don't care about those people. They care about the green. And what they're doing is making sure that the next time that they bring this guy back on the air, that it gets as big of a ratings hit as possible. And they have won. They have won hands down. The second thing is this. This country really needs to get its priorities straight. Really. You really, really, really need to get your priorities straight. And there are good people who are solid, or I would think are solid patriots, that I've seen post on this issue that show that you've learned nothing over the past several years of what freedom and liberty means. You'd have no idea whatsoever. None. You're clueless in life. Because A&E has the freedom to do it. Now, and if you guys don't want to watch A&E's Duck Dynasty anymore, then don't watch the damn show. If this is enough to irk you, then quit watching the show. And for the guys in Duck Dynasty who came out with a statement like, look, if they don't let them back on, basically we're not going to come back on, then they'll go find another network. It's not like this thing doesn't have ratings. Someone else will pick them up, and they'll go along with it. If you don't like A&E, then don't watch A&E. But if you have so little going on in your life that you needed to make this a priority issue, then go get a hobby, all right? Go find something to do. If it's that important to you that, oh, my God, they're going to do this to Phil. Oh, whoa, whoa. You really need to get your priorities straight, and you need to understand that A&E has every right to do this, just like Hobby Lobby has every right to do what they did, just like the cake people have every right to do what they did. I will defend to the death Phil's right to say whatever he wants to say. I'll also defend A&E's right to throw him off the station. Now, I won't do. It's not that I would or wouldn't do business with their sponsors, but you as an individual, if you don't like what they have to say, then don't do business with their sponsors. But no matter what, we're $17 freaking trillion in debt. We have a police state that's coming over us as we speak. We're moving towards globalism at a rate faster than anything else in the world. The Republicans just signed a deal that confirmed that they're no better than than the Democrats. They're taking percentages away from retirees, and you're worried about some bearded ass hippie or some old guy, some bearded ass hillbilly that said he didn't like gays and he doesn't think it's good that you should go for an ass when there's a vagina around. Oh my God. Like, seriously. You want my take on it? My take on it is exactly that. Is that this thing is a distraction and a waste of time. And I'm more pissed off that Phil would do something like this to distract the American public when he was in that GQ interview. He should have been talking about the damn Fed.
I haven't seen Duck Dynasty, so I can't say if Phil would be a good speaker on the issues of the Federal Reserve. I can see by some of his other quotes that he's not exactly the most eloquent speaker.
He's a simple man.
Yeah.
He's a hillbilly, man. He's a good guy.
Listen, I could care less what this guy thinks about anything. I've never seen the show. And anyone who patterns their behavior off of a reality TV show is an idiot. Anyways, I think that the guy made some dumb comments. A&E has every right to fire him for being an idiot. And you're not forced to watch A&E if you think that he was a good person. And you know what? And this guy isn't forced to not be an idiot. I mean, that's what it comes down to. This isn't a free speech issue. A free speech issue is if he went to say that on a public property and someone stopped him. Then it would be a free speech issue. But all of these were private organizations. They can print or not print whatever they want. A&E can not have him on or have him on because they're his employer and they get to decide what they want to represent them. Nobody denied him free speech. If you don't like what A&E did, stop watching it.
Yeah, that's the thing. People don't seem to understand that government has zero to do with this issue.
Right.
We've got a lot of people who are political activists and who are making it about a free speech issue and his rights are violated. There is zero government involvement in this issue. This is not a government problem. This is not a political problem. It might be a social problem. You know, it does have to do with the opinions of homosexuals in our society and how there really is two sides to this opinion, and obviously there's disagreement. But it has nothing to do with our government. Our government is not involved. We shouldn't get our government involved. They should stay out of it. If A&E doesn't like what he said, they can fire him. If he doesn't like that A&E fired him, he can walk away. These are all voluntary interactions that they can work out amongst themselves. It is none of our business. It is none of our business.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't care what his views are. I think he said them in a dumb way. And I'm not even saying that his views are, I mean, I think his views are dumb anyways. But it was, I think he's an idiot because of the way he said it anyways. He's not exactly the best speaker. I wouldn't want him representing me just because he sounds like a dumbass when he talks.
He is a duck hunter from the backwoods of Louisiana. He is a simple man. He's not a dumb man, but he's not an exceptionally smart man either. He is not a college graduate. He is not out there trying to change the world. You know what he's doing? He's trying to provide for his family.
And it seems like he's done a good job at that.
Yeah, he's hunting, he's fishing, he's working his land, he's living his life, he is worshiping his God, he is loving his family. He is doing nothing at all wrong. If you don't like his opinions, get your own. That's fine. You don't have to like his opinions, but shut up. Everyone has a different opinion. It is not that big a deal.
Yeah, and one other thing here, and we've probably said this before, but it just bears repeating. The First Amendment was not created for speech that everybody likes, by the way.
Right.
It wasn't. It wasn't created for, well, I agree with that or I agree with that. The First Amendment was made for the speech you don't like. It was made for the speech that pisses you off. It was made for the speech that makes your blood boil. Somebody did this. I remember this movie. It had Kirk Douglas in it. It was the American president when he played the president of the United States. You guys remember that?
I remember the movie. The name is escaping me right now, though.
I don't remember the name of the movie either.
Seen it.
But basically, on there he was talking about how you gotta be willing to fight for the speech you hate in order to claim that you're for the Constitution and for the First Amendment.
Yep.
Is that no matter if you disagree with it or not, you have to give people the right to say whatever it is that they want to say. And as long as Phil is not advocating that the government should come into your house and start killing people, let him just say it. I mean, who cares? Again, who gives a crap? And quit watching TV. Turn your damn TV off because obviously some of you people can't handle it. You should, okay, if this was a major issue for you, you are grounded from TV for 30 days. 30 days, no TV, you get none. You go to your room, you read Mises. Go read a damn book for Pete's sake. And now if you want to read a book by Phil about, the joys of the vagina, then go with it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he...
I share his viewpoint on the joys of the vagina.
I would encourage you, if you thought that this was a big deal or a violation of free speech, that you choose a book on what free speech, what is the difference between rights and entitlements, because obviously you don't understand them.
Yes, and if you were one of the people who stood up and said, he shouldn't be allowed to say that, you are the one that the First Amendment is there to fight against. Yeah. You are the problem. Not A&E, not Phil Robertson, you. The one who thinks that someone else should not be allowed to say what is on their mind.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It ain't like there's going to be some gay guy that hears Phil and go, you know what, I'm going to go straight, man. Phil's right.
Right.
There's zero gay guys that are going to do that. There's none, not one.
There's not one that's going to go, you know what?
He's got a point.
Vagina better.
Vagina is cool.
Yeah, I need to go find one of those vaginas. Yeah, those are fun.
You know what? He just made the case for why vagina is much more worth it.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I got to go with that. Maybe the next thing they're gonna maybe this is all a ploy to make a vagina collar. Like instead of a duck collar, like there's like a and then women just come with vaginas.
You think they're rich now?
Wait,
yeah. Look, I'm gonna tell you what, they made something like that, man. There ain't enough money in the world to pay those guys what they're gonna get.
Women would just come with vaginas. I think the fact that women would go over there would mean that the vaginas are coming anyways.
They always come with their vaginas.
Yeah.
Like I'm like.
Did I say it wrong?
Damn it! I forgot my vagina today.
God, I know. Right next to the keys. I left them right next to the keys. It's
I was forgetting something.
Damn it! All right.
The other thing, just more back to your point, that you said before. It's like the thing from Pulp Fiction. If my answers frighten you, you should cease asking scary questions.
Yeah.
If you don't like the answer that he gave you, you should have left that question alone.
And they knew what he was going to say. That's the thing. They knew what. It was a shock that this guy all of a sudden go, no, I think them gays are okay. You know, he wasn't going to say that. You know, well, what you choose to do is your business, man, not my business. You know, that's what this guy was going to let you know how he feels. You know, it's ridiculous if you're looking for one instead of the other, you know?
I actually think that whoever the writer was for GQ that was interviewing him just decided that we're just going to ask the most, simple social questions just to hear this guy's answer.
Yeah.
Because
I think A&E had something to do with it.
I actually don't think A&E had anything to do with it. If I was a reporter at all and I was going to interview this guy, of course those are the questions I would ask because it's going to be comedy gold, whatever he says.
No. Well, look, you can ask him a lot of different questions and it would have been comedy gold, like, you know. I mean, it doesn't matter. But again, Phil has the right to say it. I'd defend his right to the death to say it. I'd also defend A&E's right to fire anybody that they want to fire. And I defend her. And I also, funny thing is, and I also defend the person that says that I dislike this and that I'm not going to buy products that are sponsored by A&E if they let this guy on, or the people that said I don't like this thing and I'm going to not buy products if they don't put Phil back on.
Yeah.
So all of y'all are defended as long as you don't have the government doing anything with it or telling anybody to shut up, because if that's the case, you should shut up. So
just shut up.
Just shut up already, all right? So that's all, and here's the thing. That's all we're going to talk about with this. That's it. None. The fact that there's 500,000 signatures to get this guy back on the air and we got 11,000 for the damn Fed is the problem.
That is the problem.
All right. So let's get our priorities straight here, Merca. On to something else, though. And this is, I try not to do a lot of articles about this guy.
I know. And I try to stay away from him, too.
Only because I always seem so biased. Maybe because of my hatred for the man so much. But Marco Rubio, back in the news. Neocon, the great neocon hope. To show you that Republicans only are against subsidies when it goes to poor people. And this is from the Miami Herald. Although a staunch Obamacare critic, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio has enrolled his family in one of the health plans and will accept a $10,000 federal subsidy that some federal Republicans reject as a special deal. A fellow, yeah. Rubio on Monday defended his decision to accept the annual subsidy, and it wasn't that special. It's an employer contribution, Rubio said. It's available to every employee of the federal government. Rubio pointed out that as a member of Congress, he is required to enroll in the Affordable Care Act plan if he wants health insurance through his employer, the federal government. But while Rubio's position is technically correct, he is receiving a type of insurance contribution from his employer that is common in government and the private sector. His decision to accept the subsidy poses political risk for this 2016 GOP presidential hopeful. Hold on a second. First off, dude makes $170-something thousand a year, right? Just from the government.
The salary of a senator is $174,000 a year. That's without any of his investments, his wife's salary. That is just what he takes from the federal government in a paycheck.
The fact that there's a rule that was made by the government, by the way, by the bodies that he actually is in, that says that if you're a U.S. senator making $70,000, $170,000 a year, we're going to give you a $10,000 subsidy, is about the biggest bunch of crap that I've ever seen in and of itself. This dude is getting $10,000 a year from the government to get health insurance for his family. What? And he took it. Now, not everybody took it. Like, even horrible, disgusting individuals like Lindsey Graham are giving the money back.
Right.
Like, even he's giving the money back. But Rubio, the scumbag that he is not giving the money back.
There's a Florida Democratic U.S. House representative. It's U.S. Rep. Patrick Murphy. He's a Democrat from Jupiter, Florida. And he's returning the subsidy, even though he has admitted he agrees with Obamacare. He feels like this is something that, is important for people in the country, but he didn't think it was right for him to take the subsidy. Wow. Again, Democrats not taking the one Democrat and one.
Yeah, and this
I don't know what
you'd call Lindsey Graham other than sugar.
Hey, sugar.
Hey, sugar. Here's the thing. Every one of you in the state of Florida that voted for Marco Rubio in 2010, consider your vote completely 100% wasted. Just wasted. It was a wasted vote on a scumbag neocon that is only honestly, it's the Rubio, Graham, and McCain people that are like the old white guy rich party people. Like, it's those guys that are really the racist scumbags.
Yeah, and the people who voted for Marco Rubio, those are really the problem. The people who still support Marco Rubio, they are really the problem.
If you still support Rubio, you are not a defender of liberty and freedom, and if you think you are, you're just wrong, because you're not.
You're the enemy of everything that we do here. Everyone within this movement does.
Yeah.
You're just a mad Democrat. You're a Democrat with an R next to his name. Or a commie or a socialist, or you name the pejorative, and I'll tell you the pejorative this morning. And when you ain't voting anymore, the world will be a better place, because you obviously have, in my opinion, you've lost your ability to have a good vote.
Well, see, I wouldn't even go the insulting
I'm angry.
route. I would just point out the facts. You're not a Democrat. You're not a Republican. You are an establishment automaton. You are a sheep. You are a slave. You have no mind of your own. You are not thinking clearly. You are not using critical thinking skills. You are being told what to do, and you are doing it. You are a robot. You are useless. Move on. Find a brain.
Here's the last quote here. Rubio said, and I really want this is kind of telling. There's a little bit in between the lines here, but asked why he didn't follow the lead of others who voluntarily gave up the money, Rubio said, well, again, I'm going to comply with the laws and the way they're written right now. If they're prepared to change the law for everyone, I'll vote for that. Nobody else has that freaking provision than you, Dick. Like, you're the only, it's you and the rest of your buddies up in Washington, D.C. that have that $10,000 subsidy if you're making $174,000 a year. You complete piece of shit. All right? You are a piece of shit. You know what? Let me just say it like this. If it wasn't me that won, I really wish Chris would have won. I really wish Chris would have won, because at least the rest of y'all would be still mad at Chris because you give Rubio this little piece of crap a pass. If it was Chris, you'd be jumping up and down, having a march on Tallahassee or a march on Chris's house, and we wouldn't have to be dealing with him for a governor again. But you guys would be so pissed if it was him that was doing it. But the fact that it's Rubio, you're willing to give him a pass, you hypocritical bastards.
If a average person was making $174,000 a year, an average family, this would be the whole family, not one person, the whole family, they would need a family of 12 to qualify for even a small subsidy. Marco Rubio's family has 6 members, and he has more than one income.
Yeah.
So for him to say that, if they're going to change it for everyone, well, no, not everyone gets that thing. In fact, you get double, triple, quadruple what anyone else in your position would get.
Yeah, because when you guys wrote the rules, you wrote it to favor yourselves and screw the rest of us. It really is unbelievable. Between that and what's going on with what's her name, Pam Bondi. With marijuana, it's a federal issue, and so we can't do anything about that. We need to comply with the federal law. Were you saying that with Obamacare?
Yeah.
No, you went to court on that one. You know what I mean? You went to court on Obamacare. And something that's probably, I would argue, that's even more important than that. And all of a sudden you're like, well, not only is that not the case, but I'm going to make sure that we can, I'd like the federal money to come down to infringe on the rights of other people. And I hope they kill your dog. So Pam Bondi, again, more proof just to show you that it really is. There's one party up there. None of them care about you. And unless you don't vote for them anymore, they're going to continue to do what the heck they do. And Republican, Democrat, don't matter. It's all statists against people that love liberty. And the people that love liberty in office are very few and far between. And it's guys like Norm Roach who they take off of transportation boards. That's who that's the few that are out there. The Florida has one. His name's Norm Roach. No, 2. I'll go Bill Posey and Norm Roach. Not Ted Yoho, traitor. Matter of fact, I'm about to buy a website when it comes to Ted Yoho. I hope he likes it. He ain't going to like it, though. But at any rate, how are we working on the other thing, Greg? How's it working on that? You got that mic?
You got to turn the mic on.
I got it, yeah. Well, my mic is broken. It doesn't always work.
Oh, yeah,
even
it's
when
true.
I turn it up.
Alex was here yelling, waiting to get 2 mics that are broken.
I didn't yell too much, though. I was trying not to yell a whole lot, but
I know
it was hard. It's very difficult, though. It's very, very difficult. So, and especially when you're distracting me with stuff on your screen, so.
That was a friend of mine.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter who it is. It's still distracting.
Sorry.
You're still trying to distract me. So, that ain't cool.
It's painful.
Not even cool at all. But at any rate, is he on?
I'm calling.
Oh, you're calling right now?
Ringing. Skype is ringing.
All right, let's listen into the call. Doom, doom, doom. Make sure you say we're live on the air, because I think it's a rule. It might be a rule. It might not be a rule. It sounds like a rule.
It should
The
be.
person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the...
Oh. Hold on a second here. We got everything confirmed with this one, so let's try it again. We'll try it again. No problem at all. And if you're wondering who we are trying to get in touch with, a gentleman, and let's do an introduction while you're doing the call in here. Ben Swann. Ben Swann was a guy that was working at a local Fox affiliate in Cleveland, was starting to do this show called Reality Check. Now, Ben is a journalist. He's not an activist. He started off as a journalist. But Ben was one of these guys that was trying to find the truth. He was a real journalist. I mean, I know we don't have a lot of them, but there is a couple out there, and one of them was Ben Swann. So during the 2012 presidential campaign, Ben Swann would go out a whole lot and do reality checks based off of what was going on within all of the different state conventions, how the president was being elected, or how the Republican primary was working, and gave what I would consider to be the most honest view of what was going on than anybody else was out there. And people found him. His videos went viral. He ended up getting shown all over the country. And like I said, he was just he's a Cleveland guy. All he was doing was working in the Cleveland studio. But with technology nowadays, they would put that stuff on the internet, and people would see it. They'd share it out. We love this guy. This guy should, run for president, or whatever they would say for this guy. And then he ended up severing his ties with his employer, even though I think it all went well. Like, it wasn't a bad thing.
I think it was amicable.
Yeah, it was amicable. But Ben Swann went out and started doing his own thing, as he should. He became nationally known, and he was going to be able to do this. So he started a website, benswann.com. The Truth in Media Project is what it is. So where he consistently goes out there, tries to make sure that the right story is being told, the one that the mainstream media doesn't tell you. And this guy's a great guy. And the funny part about it is, a couple months ago, we met Ben Swann
In Georgia.
We did leave the state for a little while, but we came back, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you view the show. And Ben's a great guy. Dude's a phenomenal guy. I mean, really is just a great guy, and funny, a little bit of a cut up, and is honest and sincere in what he believes and what he's trying to do. And for that, he's he's one of those people that is. I don't want to say a hero of mine. It's not really the right word for it, but somebody that I do admire and that's doing this. I have a lot of respect for him. I have more respect for him as a journalist than I do almost any other journalist out there. I'd say other than Brandon.
Yeah.
I have mad respect for Brandon. And Brandon is not as big as Ben Swann. And Brandon is not as cute as Ben Swann, too, either, by the way. So just for the record.
Yeah, just
not to say I'm rating dudes or anything, but Ben Swann's a pretty dude, man. He's cute.
Yeah.
I know that Danielle is quite enamored with Mr. Swann.
Well, it's...
Oh, but be careful, by the way, because you will dig yourself a hole.
No.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Is that, you see people on TV, and a lot of times when you actually meet them in person, it's like you'll say, oh, that's a good-looking person on TV. But sometimes when you meet them in person, it's not that. You're like, oh, yeah, not the same as what I thought. And Ben is actually nicer looking in person than on TV.
Yeah. He's funny. I got to tell you, he's got a little, like I said, he's a cut-up.
I actually was surprised at how funny he was.
Yeah. He absolutely is funny. I mean, he really is one of these, really funny guys.
And unfortunately, he's not answering the phone.
And he's not answering the phone, huh?
And this one was confirmed because I actually did.
Yeah,
see
this
those
one was
emails.
confirmed. So we did confirm this one, guys. So this was, if this one doesn't go down, it is not my fault this time. So I made sure to confirm it. I made sure to confirm the times, the dates, the whole nine. It's going to be a little bit of a, I'm going to be a little, not really upset here, but I'm going to be a little bit perturbed.
Let down.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Because this is now the first time was my fault, but this time's not my fault, though. Keep trying, though, Greg.
This would actually, we were actually supposed to have Ben Swann on.
Last week.
No. We were actually supposed to have him on last year.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But we had him confirmed, and then that night, the day after is when Rand Paul endorsed Romney. And we think that, he just kind of got schedules crossed because that was kind of a big story, and he was working on that. So he actually was supposed to be on the show then, but then things happened after that where it didn't work out.
Yeah. Unfortunate. And it was unfortunate, but that's okay. And again, I'm not going to even be mad at him here, but, I just, I did want to talk to him today, talk to him about a couple different things. I was hoping he was going to be on here. So you're still trying, though, right? Okay, good. We'll still try. Hey, look, since we're going to talk about Ben Swann anyway, I'm going to go to benswann.com and see what some of the stories are that are there. I was going to have him talk about it, but, well, we'll wait for him. We'll wait for him either way.
Did you manage the time zone issue? Because I believe he's an hour behind us.
Well, I mean, I said Eastern Standard Time.
It says, how about January 20th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time? And then we had to go back and actually say December.
Yeah. We had to go back to December. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So, my fault on that one. But not on this one for the interview though, because like I said, man, I did do the confirming here. It worked out. I thought it worked out well. So, and why is Ted Cruz sending me emails? By the way,
I don't.
Oh no, it's not really. How did I get on his list? By the way, like I've never signed up for anything that Ted Cruz has had out there, and now I get emails from him. That's a little weird. I wonder who sold.
Well, it's not like your email address
name.
is a secret.
Well, I wonder who sold my name to him though. And they're just like, well, let's see if we can get Alex.
You don't think Ted Cruz was looking for you?
It's not like you don't have any enemies on the right. So it is quite possible that some of those people that don't care too much about you are taking your information and plugging it into right-wing mailing lists.
Okay, all right, I'll go
It
with
actually
that.
could be like that. That actually does make
Just
a little
let
bit
me
of
piss
sense.
Alex off and get him on Ted Cruz's mailing list. Oh, let's sign him up for Rubio. Yeah.
It's funny. I actually was on. I actually have Liz Cheney. I'm on Liz Cheney's too now.
How did that happen?
I have
Yes,
no idea.
Somebody's definitely signing
Yeah.
you up for
Liz Cheney, evil with a dress. Straight up evil with a dress, man. God, those people scare me. They're scary people. And I got Ted Nugent too? What email lists have I been on here? Now I got to join Ted Nugent? Oh my gosh. Oh, and who's he supporting? Oh, he's supporting Tom Tancredo. He's actually supporting somebody that's not a Republican, I don't think.
Really?
Well, I don't think that. Well, Tancredo ran his Constitution Party before.
Oh.
I wonder if he is running as a Republican now. I don't think he is, though. I think they would have put it in the disclaimer. Huh. No, that's cool. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Tom Tancredo necessarily, but I don't hate him too much, actually. He's okay, I guess. That's weird, man. That's really weird. All right, we're still trying to get a hold of him on the phone here, so we're still working on that. Man, that sucks, by the way.
I know.
I prepped it hard. That's why, I probably shouldn't have said nothing, and then it would have worked out fine. The fact that I did all the prep work ahead of time is probably the problem here. So, but we'll get there, though. Again, guys, sorry about that. We're working feverishly over here to make sure that this happens. Now would have been a good time to have the duck story.
Yeah.
Yeah, now would have been the good time to actually have the duck story.
Oh.
Oh, we're going. Okay.
Liberty Underground Show.
Here's Greg answering the phone. Liberty Underground Show. How can he help you?
Yes. Yeah, let me get you.
Okay, cool. It's probably Adrian trying to save us.
Yes.
That's good. Let's interview Adrian Wiley for the next 20 minutes then. We'll ask him some poignant questions about his campaign and see how he's doing. So, on the phone with us, Libertarian candidate for governor, Adrian Wiley. If you're unfamiliar with Adrian Wiley, he used to be a member of the show, but left the show to quit to go to higher pastures, greener pastures of driving around the state of Florida in his car without a license, waiting for the police to pull him over, which will not do that, which means he has to keep driving around the state of Florida. So I do appreciate the time frames in which he has to drive around the state of Florida, but unfortunately, he comes back and he actually has the nerve to call the show that he left so abruptly. So we'll talk to him about his if he's willing to come back. So, Adrian Wiley, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey man. Well, I wouldn't be too harsh on me here since our buddy Ben stood you up. I was calling to be your backup prom date.
I appreciate that, but like Phil, I prefer the vagina.
Hey, and by the way, it's me signing you up for all the mailing lists.
Are you the one that's putting me on everybody's mailing list?
I've been doing it for years, man.
Okay.
Remember the first time I did it a few years back, you got so mad at me. I can't even remember what mailing list I put you on, but you went absolutely ballistic on me for doing that.
Yeah, don't do that. Why would you do this?
Because it's fun for everybody else.
Oh, okay. I bet you.
I'm looking out for you.
I'll bet you are looking out for me. You're doing a great job.
How much material can you get from Liz Cheney's mailing list? That's all I'm saying.
You know what, man? God, that woman is just pure evil. Like Adrian, well, and maybe you don't want to answer this as a candidate running for governor, but if you're going to have to rate Liz Cheney on the evil scale, 10 being Satan and 1 being not Satan or Jesus, where would you put her?
Well, as you know, I have absolutely no fear of speaking out about people in the political realm, but I just don't know enough about Liz Cheney to give a really informed opinion. So I gotta,
She's related to she's the spawn of Dick Cheney. Does that help you at all?
Yeah, I knew that. That I understood. And isn't she a lesbian and pro-gay rights and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think she's all that, and then she's very, very much though. In order to cover for that though, she's very, very in favor of bombing brown people in different countries.
Well, like I said, I don't know much about her, but she doesn't sound like someone I'd like to have a mimosa with.
She sounds like an angry lesbian.
She is a neocon scum, like the rest of them, though. But
hey, I got to weigh in briefly on this whole Duck Dynasty fiasco here.
Oh yeah, let's hear your opinion on this.
Brilliant marketing. I think you're going to see reality show characters, for lack of a better term, coming out left and right speaking negatively about gays. I mean, Danielle's a perfect example. Never seen the show, never really heard of it, paid attention. There's probably 30 million people that are going to be watching the next Duck Dynasty show that have never seen it just to figure out what's all the fuss about. And a good percentage of them are probably going to get hooked. So a brilliant marketing campaign. My gut tells me that Phil will be back on the show before long at all, and all will be forgiven. And next thing you know, Duck Dynasty will be even more highly rated than it currently is.
Yeah.
Now, is it because I will not be one of those 30 million people because I will not ever watch a reality show that's based on duck calls.
Admit it. You're going to watch it just to see what it's all about.
No, I actually won't. I don't like watching TV anyways, but I have, because the big thing, a couple years ago was that show Honey Boo Boo. Now,
well, it wasn't called Honey Boo Boo, though. I think it was called something else.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, is that what it was called?
Yeah, that was the name of the show.
Oh, I don't know.
Now, are they along the lines of that show where they say, like, outrageous, just dumb redneck stuff?
Yeah, they just...
No. I've actually caught the show, like half the show, once or twice, and it's much more of a... It's kind of an Americana, really, And I have to say, I did see about 5 minutes one time of that Honey Boo Boo show, and I still haven't recovered the 2 IQ points I lost from watching that.
That sucks, man. You know,
I know.
You want to know what show I like that you can consider to be a reality show?
What show?
American Pickers.
I love that show too.
That's the show
That's an
I
awesome
like.
show.
You know why? Because it gives you like what people watch Duck Dynasty and claim that they get from it about, we're seeing, like America and this Americana or whatever. I think that the American Pickers show actually gives you that. Like, that gives you where they go around and those guys, I think they genuinely like the people that they're going and doing this with. And to watch, I like that show. I do watch that show. But for Duck Dynasty,
I have to admit, Alex, that American Pickers and South Park are about the only two shows that my wife and I can both agree on.
yeah, I think. Well, I always think it's interesting some of the stuff they find too. By the way,
Yeah.
And also, you know what else? Also, some of the uses for some of the stuff. Like, I look at a pile of junk a lot differently now than I did before. I don't know if that's saying anything or something, but
How many piles of junk are you looking at?
I'm looking at the pile of junk differently
I'm
now.
only one pile of junk away from an episode of Hoarders.
Yeah.
But they'll have plenty of bags to put the junk in.
Well, I do have a lot of bags.
We
I
have
do
a
have
lot
a
of
lot of
bags in the
bags to
house.
be able to put the junk in, though. So and that's nice. But I do like that show, though. But for Duck Dynasty, I'm actually gonna. And I know I don't think people normally do this for this reason, but because of Duck Dynasty, they have caused me now to actually do something in my own form of protest. I'm going to turn the parental controls onto my TV, and I'm going to start blocking en masse a lot of TV shows. So I'm going to make it so I can't even watch any of the shows. Like, even if I accidentally like turned it to that channel, I'm like Duck Dynasty, most of MSNBC. There's a lot of Honey Boo Boo stuff, any Real World stuff, any Road Rule stuff, any of those things.
Are those shows still on?
I don't even know if they are or not, but I'm going to block all of them from my TV from this point moving forward. I wish I could block Modern Family, but I would be voted out of that one.
Yes,
because
you would definitely
everybody
be voted out
seems
of
to
that
really
one.
like that show, which I don't understand, but it's not even that good of a show. I mean, at any rate, I'm not going to get into that part.
Apparently, you're not watching it.
So, Alex, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you had Rick Scott or Charlie Chris on, would you be talking about TV shows with them as well, doing a whole reality show synopsis?
No, he'd be yelling at them.
No, I'd be yelling at them.
They would have hung up on him by now.
Yeah, I would have been calling them scumbags and pieces of crap. And I mean, it's a nice, cordial conversation with you. You should be happy. You should be saying thank you. For having a nice, cordial conversation.
I'm not used to not being yelled at by you, so it's kind of a weird scenario for me.
Well, we can
I was
talk about
hoping to fire you up, telling you I enrolled you on all these lists, but even that didn't work.
Well, you know what it is. I'm kind of depressed right now because we don't have Ben Swann on.
Yeah, kind of a bummer, man.
A little bit. I mean, and this one's
Yeah.
not my fault. Like I said, I did everything I was supposed to do on this one. So.
And especially since you have a serious, Phil Robertson man type crush on him.
Oh, hold on. Somebody, I got an email here. We'll let Adrian talk about this one too. Somebody had emailed me, and I'll leave the name. Things. You actually missed the point, and this has to do with Rubio. You actually missed the point. The law does not give him the subsidy. It was a rule placed by an unelected member of the Obama administration, violating the law as normal. The federal employees are the only ones who get subsidies from their employer. It's against the law for It's against the law for everybody else. So here's the thing.
That's not true.
Go ahead, explain it. Explain it, Daniel.
You can subsidize your employees their health insurance if you'd like to. Any employer can. They're not, and the rule that was put in that gave them the $10,000 subsidy was actually voted on. The Republicans have put it in there saying that the members of both the House and the Senate will have to enroll in Obamacare, thinking that actual provision would be denied. Democrats liked it. They voted for it too, and that's why it was put in there. But when it was put in there, it gave them. They also put in the provision because what would happen is the employees, the actual federal employees, not the politicians, would lose their subsidy the way it was written. So they actually rewrote it to give every federal employee the subsidy.
Yeah.
It's written into the law. It wasn't an unelected member of the Obama administration. This was your Republicans and Democrats.
It was bipartisan effort.
Yeah, it was a ploy by the Republicans to try to get some of the things repealed. Democrats actually took the bait and actually one-upped them.
Yeah. So.
Well, it shouldn't surprise anyone. I mean, Marco Rubio has a long history of this type of hypocrisy, and he's shown repeatedly that he will bend the rules and take advantage of any loophole. While at the same time he's out there saying what a debacle Obamacare is, he's getting on board and reaping personal benefits from it. It's not much different from when he used the Republican Party of Florida credit card to put a new kitchen in his house. It's the same type of thing. Marco Rubio is in it to enrich himself and for nothing else. And every time he gets into a little trouble, he thinks he's doing something politically expedient, he will turn tail and run and hide, and that's exactly what he's doing now. And anyone out there who still thinks that Marco Rubio is a man who will uphold and defend the Constitution and a man who is a statesman and in it for the right reason, you're lying to yourself. Marco Rubio is nothing but an overly ambitious politician that is in it for himself, just like the vast majority of our representatives and senators are.
Yep.
It is unfortunate. It is the way it is, though. It's just, again, it's kind of sad, actually. It really is. It's really sad that people are falling for this stuff, and even good-meaning people who would send that email would try to give this disgusting, despicable piece of human trash a pass. Because Rubio doesn't deserve a pass, he deserves a 10 by 10. He should be in jail with Greer, actually. Him, Greer, Christ should have put all those guys in jail, and because they were all guilty of the stuff that they did. They all misused government funds. They all were, they've done this stuff, and that's just the easy stuff to catch them on. I mean, murder's probably not far away, and I'm sure they've killed people in the past, so. Yeah. Or been part of it. I have absolutely no proof of murder whatsoever yet, but maybe I do.
It was Iowa Senator Charles Grassley that proposed the amendment that would force the House and would force Congress to enroll in Obamacare. But because some of the staff members would lose their subsidy on August 7th, the Obama administration issued a proposed rule, which was voted on by both houses, which would actually let them keep their subsidy. Yeah. So it was voted on. It wasn't just a...
No, it was proposed by the Obama administration.
Right, but it was voted on.
So they didn't it wasn't an unelected bureaucrat that did it. It was somebody that sent the thing over. But again, why would we worry about the truth right now? It would take away from GOP talking points.
Right.
Here's the thing. The longer that I go, look, Adrian, is there what do you got going on, man? Let's talk to Adrian. So instead of me getting mad and going on a rant, let's talk to Adrian. Adrian, what do you got going on?
Just right now I'm engaged in a little bit of free market capitalism and out there providing my services this morning for my exorbitant fee, which the market will bear. And later this afternoon, I'm going to be at downtown Safety Harbor for the Street Fest going on there. It's from 5 to 7 or 8, I believe. And I'll be joined there by Lucas Overby, Libertarian candidate for Congressional District 13 here in Pinellas County. I understand you got Mark Bircher, one of his Republican opponents, on in the second hour. Is that right?
Yeah,
I do, but given our track record as it stands right now, that nothing's for sure yet.
I actually did confirm it by email last night.
Okay, all right, there you go. So the odds are better there.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's what's going on today. This weekend
will be
I'm down
there
in
tonight.
South Florida. And I'm sorry, Danielle?
Bill Walsifer will be there tonight. He's running the Libertarian candidate for Attorney General.
You guys sidetracked me. I forgot to mention Bill Walsifer, Libertarian for Attorney General, great guy, great friend. Also, I believe Randy Taylor and Tony Queso are going to both be there. So
Lots of
you're going to have a
candidates.
whole slate of Libertarian candidates that will be in the ballot in Pinellas County. So come out and pick our brains, give us tough questions. We're ready to talk to you one-on-one, unlike most of the other Republican and Democrat politicians who would rather just, send out their talking points.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Adrian. All right, Adrian Wiley, everybody. We appreciate it very much, sir. Again, WileyForGovernor.com is the website, and we appreciate you calling in and being the unannounced special guest. I mean, that's always nice to have
Backup
you.
prom date, as I like to call it.
Backup
But,
prom date. Again, I don't like that term because, like I said, I have one preference over the other. So, but that's okay. You can. Honestly, Adrian, I'm not going to. I would not try to judge your lifestyle or the way you choose to live. That's completely your business and not mine. I'm supportive of whatever it is that you want to do. Just stay away from me with it.
I will pass that acknowledgement on to my lovely wife, Dawn, who absolutely loves you, by the way.
Oh, that was very nice of you.
That's great. Now,
We know that's not true.
And the funny thing is that out of the two of you, Alex is actually the hugger.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
that is true. Thank you for pointing that out, Danielle.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you taking Adrian's side on that one.
I'm not taking Adrian's side. I'm just saying the
Guess
truth
the
is
payment.
the truth.
I guess the payment in IHOP pancakes is starting to prove pretty beneficial for the Wiley here. You've gotten Danielle totally on your side, where she's willing to throw me under the bus during the interview live on the air, though.
But
So
you know-
I do appreciate that, Danielle. You'll pay for that one later.
Well, I'm glad to know that I won the less gay competition.
Not that there's a problem with it. You know,
There's anything wrong with
not that
that.
there's a problem with it. The owners of 1787 Network, though, they could ban us from being on. Oh no, it's us.
Oh,
Never
no,
mind.
it's us. Never
We might
mind.
kick ourselves off, though. I might kick myself off.
We actually can say whatever the hell we want.
Damn
Nobody's
it.
kicking us off.
Damn it! All the hell.
There will be no controversy of us getting kicked off by the owners of the 1787 network.
Yep, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Maybe we should try to kick ourselves off so that we can create controversy and build ratings.
Actually,
Oh,
people
that's a brilliant idea.
no, I think people would just think
You
we're
guys are
morons
catching on
for.
now.
No, I think
the
people would
marketing
think we're
plan.
morons for trying to ban ourselves
We
from
could
our
do a
own
big
show.
publicity stunt.
Well, who are you? Are you going to boycott yourself?
I
know?
am officially boycotting me.
Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Here's my official statement regarding somebody boycotting me myself. But the views expressed by Danielle Alexandria do not necessarily reflect those of Danielle Alexandria.
And next Friday, while she's here doing the show alone, we'll go stand on the corner with signs that say, "Who cares that the NSA is spying on us? People are getting fired from reality shows."
Yes, we need to make sure we're focusing on the right stuff. Phil Robertson needs to be saved. You know?
Yeah, this show is just denigrated into just something I no longer recognize.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for being a part
Hey,
of
I'll
it,
be
Adrian.
tuning in hour number 2. Talk hard, guys.
All right, talk
Talk
hard,
hard.
man. All right, well, hour number 2 is that we'll figure out what happened with Ben Swann. Maybe we'll try to get him in. We'll have to get him in next week because we don't have any time left this week.
But we're not going to promote it anymore.
But it'll be a surprise. If Ben comes on, it'll be a surprise.
Just listen every single week diligently, and at some point, Ben Swann will be on.
Yeah.
He really does like us. He really, really does.
I know.
Yeah, that is funny, actually. That's a good point, by the way. He does actually like us.
He does actually like us.
I just got a damn email from IHOP.
Sorry.
Okay, it's Danielle.
Maybe it is Danielle.
She's the one signing you up for everything.
No, we were in an IHOP, and to get on their Wi-Fi on Alex's phone, he had to put in his email address. So it was my fault that he was at the IHOP, but it was his fault that he gets the emails.
Unbelievable.
They should do that at the Capitol building. Then you end up on all the
all
congressmen
the
and
lists.
senators' mailing lists.
Then you could just yell at them.
Yeah,
I would actually like to go back to D.C. just to hit every office and yell at them.
that would be awesome.
I think that would work.
I think Alex is distracted by the
I-
IHOP email.
I don't understand.
He's salivating
like,
at
all of a
pictures of
sudden, like
pancakes.
he's disappeared from the show. The thing is that we're on camera too, so people realize
I know.
that he's still on camera, so he hasn't actually disappeared. He's just stopped talking.
I'm actually sending an email to find out what happened with Ben Swann this morning.
okay.
So it's almost 9. It's almost 10 o'clock anyway. So we got to take a break, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Hour number 1's in the bag. 1787network.com. Hour number 2 is coming up. In hour number 2, we will have congressional candidate Mark Bircher, Republican, running for office down in the special election that Lucas is in. But we'll be back. You listen to Liberty Underground.
this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
to the words of the man with the rifle in his hand. Don't be mistaken, I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm ready to die, but not for a lie. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker and Adrian Wiley on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, the entire state of Utah. This is Alex Snicker, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, Danielle Alexandre. Good morning.
Good morning.
Greg Bowen, how are you doing, sir?
Spectacular.
Very, very well. Hope everybody is having a great week. The website, 1787network.com. If you want to talk, if you want to listen to the first hour or the third hour, if you want to call into the program, the number is 1-800-525-4032. The Refresh Telecom line, 1-800-525-4032. Pretty jam-packed show today. Actually, we do have a guest today. Will be Republican candidate Mark Bircher, who is running in a primary for the special election to fill the seat that was vacated with the passing of Bill Young. So Mark Bircher will be on today. We'll ask him a whole bunch of questions. We will be fair. Considering that we do have somebody else that we support in that race, not in the Republican primary, I got no dog in that fight, but in the general, I have a favorite, and it's not Alex Sink just because she has the same first name as I do, which I do find to be funny that her first name's Alex. I do think Alex is a man's name, not a woman's name, but who's here to judge?
Well, I think it's probably like
it's both.
It's it's both because her first name is actually Alexandra.
Alexandria, something to that effect.
And so she goes by Alex.
Irrelevant. She's not worthy of your support.
And she's
I will agree with.
I actually will give her that she's not worthy of the name.
She's definitely not worthy of the name. Definitely not worthy of the name. Banker would be a better name for her.
Yeah, our Alex.
President of Bank of America, the person that was in charge when the state lost a whole bunch of money because of bad deals that she probably made a killing on. So she's a corporatist in the highest degree there. But we'll try to claim that she's for the people. Kind of like Charlie Crist. Her and Charlie Crist, same thing.
And Morgan and Morgan. Because they're for the people.
Yeah.
Except they're really not. They're ambulance chasers.
Yes, exactly.
They're for the profit.
Yeah.
They're for the profit.
Well, for their profit, but against the profit for other people.
So I guess they're people. They're for their people.
Yes, they're for their people.
Well, that's what everybody is. Everybody's for their people.
I'm for everybody.
I'm actually for everybody.
Yeah, so that's a bad statement.
It's actually quite an annoying quality to be for everybody, because even people I hate, I'm like, I guess you still have rights to be. I would still
fight to give them the same freedoms that I want.
See, I'm a misanthrope. I hate everybody, and my whole thing is I'm just fighting to make sure everyone can legally leave me alone. It is law. You must leave me alone.
Yes. But let's get into something that's going on. Before we get our candidate Bircher on, let's go ahead and talk about something that's going on in Pinellas County. If you don't know this, the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority, that's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority is a board of people, of politicians, and at the Pinellas County Commission recently, the person that is now the chairperson is now Karen Seal, who should not be in the office, who is violating the will of the people with every day that she's in the office.
Right.
But with that being said,
she definitely overstayed her welcome.
Yeah, rule breaker Karen Seal has, because she's now the chairwoman, decided that Norm Roach, who was the person that was on the board, or that was currently on the PSTA board, and probably the only voice against the outlandish things that board wants to do.
He was the lone voice against the Green Light Pinellas plan.
Yeah, the lone voice against the Green Light Pinellas plan was taken off of the board by Karen Seal, traitor, and rule violator. Republican, by the way. Karen Seal, Republican. Let's make sure we mention that. for everybody that says, "Oh, we're doing such a great job in the Republican Party." Karen Seal, let me give you your
Yeah.
example of why you aren't doing a good job and why your whole attempt to take over the GOP has been another failure. But go ahead, Danielle. Can you explain the story a little bit?
Well, basically what happened is, as the incoming chairwoman, she can swap out commission members on whatever board she would like. So what she chose to do was to swap out Norm Roach, who has served on the PSTA board since he's been a county commissioner, and put in John Maroney in his place. Now, she was asked why she would make this switch, and she gave a few odd answers. Now, technically, she really didn't have to answer, but she did. So what she said was that Roach was removed because it was just a matter, this was the first answer, it was just a matter of representative rotation. She just wanted new blood on the board. Then she was questioned again, and she basically said it was just a simple matter of the chair's prerogative. Basically, I said so deal with it. And then when she was asked a third time, because she is a big supporter of the Greenlight Pinellas project, so is John Maroney, and of course Norm Roach has been the lone person saying that it's not a good idea. When she was asked a third time, that it was a little odd that she was a big supporter of this project and she would take off the only person that wasn't supporting it. And then she said that Norm Roach missed too many meetings, and that's why he was removed. So you have to look at, okay, well, how many meetings did he miss? And he did miss some meetings. He has a brother who has been ill, so he has missed some things to take care of his ill brother. But in all, he actually has missed a sum total of 5 meetings in 2 years. That would be the same number as Susan Latvala and fewer than Kathleen Peters. And Susan Latvala and Kathleen Peters are still serving on that board. So definitely it couldn't be an issue of just missed meetings, because someone who's missed more meetings and someone who's missed the same amount of meetings still remain on the board. So it would definitely appear that Karen Seal is in favor of the Greenlight Pinellas project, and she wanted to make sure that the board was stacked with supporters of the Greenlight Pinellas project.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what they, it's what they do. The Republicans in Pinellas County support rail. They support the addition of doing this in Pinellas County, and wanted to make sure that they had the right people on the board. The lone person on there, Norm Roach, who is a Republican. I would argue that he's in the wrong party, but for that, we can deal with that as we want, because the majority of the elected officials in Pinellas County that are Republicans want the rail. They like the rail. They think it's a good idea, and they want to make sure that it happens. And so they will continue their process of trying to get that done, which is really good for statists everywhere, I guess.
And Norm has routinely brought up questions of the financial feasibility of the project and things like that. So, I mean, not only has he opposed it, but he's constantly questioned how we can even afford this. So I definitely think that the questions that he was asking was starting to raise, just awareness within the city, and that's why he was removed.
Yep, absolutely. Well, on the phone with us right now, candidate for Congress to replace the seat that was vacated by Bill Young is Mark Bircher. If you're not familiar with Mark Bircher, he is a retired general, United States Marine, and has decided to run in this race against Jolly and
David Jolly.
David Jolly and Kathleen Peters, right?
Yes.
That election is going to be I guess we'll have Mark actually answer.
It's going to be in January, though.
When the actual election in January is going to be. But Mark, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
First off, if you could just tell people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're all about personally.
Well, I'm retired from the Marine Corps Reserve as a brigadier general, as you said. I was a Marine pilot for 12 years, transitioned to the Reserve for 21 years. I'm an airline pilot by trade. I never anticipated having any connection at all to a political career when Representative Young announced he wouldn't seek re-election, and then passed away. I asked my wife for permission, and she said I could, so here I am.
You asked the most important person to make sure that you were able to do that. I understand. I definitely understand that. Why did you decide to run for this seat?
The real decision for me was the motivation provided by my son, 10 years old. And the short version is, I'm not sure my son will have the opportunity that I did in this country because of the relationship that I see between the states and the federal government that was created by the states to serve the states.
I got you. Oh, no, that's a good question. Now, Danielle, go ahead.
Now, and of course I'm going to have some policy questions and some of the issues, because we definitely want to know where you stand on things. And obviously one of the biggest concerns with most of Floridians and most Americans right now is our economic situation. And I'd like to know what your plan is in Congress to fix the economic situation and the growing debt that we're seeing coming out of Congress.
Well, that's right down the center of my platform, because essentially the economic situation in the 13th Congressional District, I think, has a severe negative impact because of the amount of wealth that we are being taxed and, even worse, written into debt on. And in my view, it boils down to this. We need to redefine the function and purpose of the federal government, and it's supposed to function in those. Its purpose is to create the atmosphere so the entrepreneurial spirit of free men and women can run an economy that was a revolutionary concept that you could not do in old Europe. You can come here and work hard and change your station. That is what the federal government was created for by the states, and in a staggering role reversal, we now are getting all manner of regulation and taxation outside of our consent, and I love my country. I served the federal government 33 years. It does have a purpose. It has a powerful purpose, but I think that purpose is enumerated in the Constitution, and if the American people can understand that there is no wealth in Washington, D.C., but what you first put in through taxes and what you are written into debt, and the real solution to me is simple, the word accountability. It's something you learn in life. You certainly learn in the Marine Corps. And I believe that the base of our problem is our politicians, mostly because of the changes in the Constitution, are no longer accountable for their spending. And I'll point to the state of Florida's budget as the example of how our country ran until 1913. Look at the state of Florida budget, $74 billion. The administration wants to trim $100 million. There's other people that want to add $1 billion. But think about it's less. The total difference in the political structure on the state of Florida is less than 1.5% of the budget. It's minuscule. That conversation is absent at the federal level, because at the federal level, $16.5 trillion in deficit and climbing, because there is not the discussion on how it's going to be paid for, which is a key feature. That's why the lower house had to run every 2 years. They're spending your money. So until we get back to accountability for spending, we are in a hopeless economic situation. That has an effect here in the 13th Congressional District.
And that sounds good, and I definitely, you've said the word accountability quite often, but what specifically would you do to hold Congress accountable and rein in the spending? I think I'm looking for your specific plan on how we can get this accomplished through Congress.
Great question. Very simple. I'm not trying to oversimplify it. But the enumerated powers, the father of the Constitution, James Madison, says the powers of the federal government are few and all are enumerated. And that, to me, is where the change, when the Constitution started to be interpreted to have expanded powers outside of its purview. These are things like education and health care, and if you look at how the budget was, for example, in 1908, Theodore Roosevelt sent 16 United States Navy battleships around the world with 14,000 sailors. You can do a lot of things. There was not a personal income tax at that point. And it's important to know that the social functions that the central government does, I think, are vital. I think they are important. The difference for me is that their legal and their proper venue is our state legislation, because the powers to spend have a political consequence at the state that does not have a political consequence at the federal government, and there's a fiscal reality, because the state legislatures don't have a printing press. They don't have the ability to write the debt the way our federal government is. So I'm not for cutting anything. In fact, I can make a point that I think our dollar on social programs, be they Medicare and Social Security, which must be protected because they were promises, they are property interests, that if we send $1 to Washington, D.C. to come back here to the 13th Congressional District, it doesn't look like $1 when it comes back here to help, whether it's in our elderly, our health care, our homeless, or any of our problems. It's much smaller than $1. And if we send it to Tallahassee to come back, I think you could argue we'd have more money because the accountability in Tallahassee, we can drive there in 4 hours. We have, rather than the attenuated control that we lose when we send our money to the federal government when it's acting outside its enumerated powers.
Okay, and I have a question for you as it relates to one of the things that you said about acting outside of its enumerated powers. Would you agree that Social Security and Medicare, those programs in and of themselves are unconstitutional?
That's a great question, and let me be clear on that, because Social Security and Medicare are distinct from other entitlement programs for 2 reasons. One, there is a property interest in them. The employer and the individual paid into it. They relied upon their government. Now, the merit of that program is a separate argument. Whether that program was right or not, it has existed. It's been 50 to 80 years where this has been going on. It won't get fixed overnight, but I will tell you, I will do all in my power to protect what was a promise to the American people that are in Social Security and Medicare, because it must be protected dollar for dollar, and it just has to have a transition program that does that because it's a property interest, distinct legally from an entitlement program. But I believe that the fact that let's just pragmatically looking at it, I don't think it's prudent to continue on a track that points to a federal bureaucracy running our future for our retirement and our health care that has this deficit in it. I don't know how people can be inspired on the long term that putting your money to an outfit, whether it's flood insurance or any of the other things the federal government goes into, unsecured debt, billions of dollars in arrears, that doesn't inspire me. I think we should transition those programs back to where the fiscal and political reality that the framers intended here in the state.
Well,
that's how I feel about it.
Oh, no, and I understand that, but I guess I was going to ask a follow-up to that question about if those things are constitutional or unconstitutional. But I guess the thing is, do you have a plan? I know where we're at right now, and I know that where we would want to go would take a while to get there. So I don't want to make it so like it would be something that would happen in a year. But do you think that there needs to be the beginning of a transition from the way that we are currently viewing things like Social Security and Medicare, that in future generations that those could be gone? And if that is the case, then what would be a strategy that you would look at to get us from where we're at today to where we would go? Things like allowing younger people to opt out, things like moving things to privatizing. Those are some of the examples that I'm talking about. Where do you fall in that? Because I think that, and let me say it like this, I think that compromise isn't a bad thing if the end result of it is the one that's agreed upon. And I would agree that the end result is that we have to make sure that Americans are not straddled by the system any longer, that they're free to do with their money as they wish. Do you agree with that? And if so, what would be your plan to get us from where we're at to where we would need to go?
Okay, my plan is where we need to go is part of the fabric of what it means to be an American and have the American dream. And that is what I believe the framers set up for us. They intended 13, now 50 entities, all sharing ideas, whether it's education, healthcare, homelessness, retirement, all of these things at our local level would go through the process that, as Benjamin Franklin said, if you have a taste for law or sausage, it's best seeing neither made. But the idea that everybody would bring their ideas and it would be a debate and it would be a consequence that had to live in the fiscal and political reality, instead of where we have gone is frankly the monolithic former Soviet Union plan, where an unelected, unaccountable bureaucrat sits at a desk and decides what the people of New Mexico and Maine and Oregon and Louisiana are going to get. They all have different issues. They all have different ways of raising money. The key of this is to preserve the right to fail, whether it's, in my view, whether it's big businesses or all the way down. The the government must recognize that in our system, preserving the right to fail is important. I think this would happen. A state like Florida would come to a plan of how it was going to handle these issues. Then it would have to examine them like you would any other free market force and say, how are we doing? People would move in and out of Florida. They would decide to invest or not. That would have a consequence. And the nice thing about it is maybe we look up and go, why are people moving to Georgia? How do they do it? Well, they tax this way or they have this program. I'm convinced that that would end up with a much better system than $16.5 trillion in debt. $500 million a year comes out of this congressional district to service the interest on the debt, sir. And I'm not retiring a dollar of the debt. That's the interest on the debt. I think the people of the 13th congressional district should spend their money the way they want to rather than the way we're told to by this entity we created to service. I don't know if that makes sense, but in the end, the American dream is about the entrepreneurial spirit of people, whether it's flood insurance, retirement, all of these issues. I feel we do better using our own methods and resources than a bureaucrat.
So, and let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying is that although you do believe Social Security and Medicare are a contract, you would take it away from the federal government and move it to the states. And I'm because I have a pretty good understanding of the Constitution and what is in the enumerated powers. I would think that there's a lot of departments that we would want to do that to, the Department of Education and other things like that, the EPA and things like that. But you're going to Congress, so I think I'm more looking at what you plan to do in your voting that would make that happen while you're in Congress.
Great question, and a really good one, because in the short term, they call it representative for a reason. I'm going there to represent the interests of the people. Right now, the status quo is what it is. I have to participate there. I will be doing all I can to get the interests of the American people, to make sure that nobody that trusted Social Security, Medicare, or any of the other things, we could go on and on, mortgage interest deduction, education, all of it. But the difference in my platform is I would want to come up with a transition program that I could get with experts and say, let's agree that the sustainability of the road we're on doesn't exist. And although I'd have to advocate in the short term, and you've heard me say the property interest, I need to protect that. But the long term, down to my son, I don't see it being a wise, prudent choice to say that the debt trends are something I can rely on his future 50 years from now. So short term, got to protect the interests of the people. Long term, I think we can do it better. I think we would have more economic power if we come back to the idea that the people of this district know better how to protect their future than what we're seeing in the central government, and we'll just point to the deficit to say, that does not inspire me. For those people that think that they'd like to invest their tomorrows and their future in the federal government, my opinion, I see hyperinflation. If you're near retirement, you may get your $3,000 Social Security, and you'll be lucky to buy very much with it. If you're at the beginning of it, I see uncontrolled debt for a new college student, not just personal debt, but my generation has placed this debt on the younger generation, and there's this belief that it doesn't come due, and it does come due someday. So, that's basically to get the federal government back doing a transition program. And what you said before is, I think it's important. We're not taking it from the federal government. We're returning it to where the law and the Constitution said it always existed. It's migrated out, but the truth is, if we read our Constitution, it in my view, it should have never left the enumerated powers. The only reason a state legislature would give a power to a federal government is because the state legislature cannot perform that function, much like a homeowners association. Printing money, common defense, foreign policy, post office, patents. You know it when you see it, and there's a good reason the federal government exists. Again, I served it for 33 years. I believe strongly in it. I just believe we should reclaim the state sovereignty on these areas. I think we can do a better job.
I understand. Now, one question another question I was going to have for you is, One of the things that you had said that I saw written in the was an RLC questionnaire. It had to do with taxes, and what you had said in there had to do with what you would see us as a transition from the current tax code into what you're looking at. And would it be possible for you to give us an explanation of what you meant by the statement that you had made there? And I'm not trying to. I don't want to give it away, but at the same time, I'm not trying to trick either. But basically, you had said that the income tax should go away, and that there was a way in which the government would still be funded. How would the government still be funded the way that you were talking about?
I believe that if we look at the first 124 years of the Republic, which is 1789 at the ratification until 1913, the Constitution provided three ways to collect the taxes, and they could be excise taxes, tariffs, and then the other one, if you read your 16th Amendment, it's without regard to apportionment. Now, I didn't read the Constitution until I was 40 years old. I didn't know what that meant. But apportionment is important because if there was a debt, if there was not enough money in the coffer, it would be apportioned among the representation in the state. So what it boiled down to was this. Your representative up until 1913 came home with a bill that was connected directly to his or her vote in the Congress, as opposed to now. I believe the lack of accountability, if you look at the federal level, many of our representatives, they just come back and point to the other party. That's the problem that we have now that we didn't have back when I think if you think of a homeowners association, you know, you are not asked, if there's 100 homes and $100,000 you're going to put in street lights, and you get your chance to vote, and it's $1,000 a portion per house, nobody comes and asks you how you're going to pay for it. That's how the apportioned bill works. That was done away with in 1913, and the 17th Amendment did the same thing, kind of removed the Senate to the popular vote, but I won't go into that. But the important thing is accountability, and that's why earlier I pointed to the Florida budget. If you read in the newspaper or listen to the radio or watch TV, the discussion is as much about how it's going to be paid for as about the program, penny tax, and that, I mean, just think about the Florida budget and whatever you read, see how much is about how it's going to be paid for. That's a key part of the way this republic ran, and you do not see politicians speaking about how it's going to be paid now, because I think the time horizon of every other November basically drives politicians into a race to the bottom on how much they can give. And, you know, when I was a little boy, there was a distinction between, in my view, the Republicans and the Democrats. Now, in a nutshell, I believe the Republican option is big government, and the Democrat is bigger. That's not really a choice. That's what I'm trying to bring back, because if I have to run every 2 years on how much of your money I'm spending, there's going to be I'm going to be sitting up straighter going, uh-oh, you're going to tell me, Bircher, you're coming back to the county to be a taxpayer because I don't like the way you're spending my money. Or conversely, you're not listening to me as a representative. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, because it's kind of a revolutionary. It's 100 years ago today with it stopped. And it really didn't start getting bad on the deficit until about, the 60s and the 70s, and it's gone up and down. But right now, it's almost straight up. To me, it's moot, sir, because we cannot sustain the rate of deficit as if it didn't happen. And I feel like our whole country is so beat up on this economic thing, but you don't really see it. You know, my opinion is there's a reckoning day down the road, and I'd rather address it now than where I think it's going to be much uglier. I think it's hyperinflation and extremely bad for the republic.
Well, and I completely understand what you're saying, and I actually completely agree. I'm just wondering how we get that accomplished through Congress, because at the end of the day, you're running for Congress. And while I do believe that every representative has to be accountable for their votes, I think that's on the people to hold them accountable. And I don't see I guess I'm failing to see what your plan is in Congress to make congressmen more accountable.
That is the function of the people every other November in the lower house. And if if people believe that the federal government is to serve their purpose, their individual interests on how much they can get, and if that's the purpose of the federal government, I'm not their candidate. And I might not be the candidate because I don't think that is the proper purpose of the federal government to be this place. You know, that's why L. Frank Baum called it Emerald City. That it's green and you to get money and you get things and you bring them back. But the truth is, if you go to Emerald City, it's a man behind a curtain. It's a fraud. There is nothing there that you don't put in first, either through taxation or worse, through debt. And let's understand that there isn't a dollar that the federal government can give that they don't first take. My plan makes no sense at all. So, you know, that's the dilemma I'm in.
No, absolutely. Now, not to cut you, we got to take a break real quick. We're gonna, if you have the time, we want to go after the break, and we want to finish the hour with you. But we got to take a break real quick. When we get back, we'd like to do some rapid fire with you when it comes to things that are currently on. Things that are, current things that are going on or other questions, so you'll be able to answer just yes or no on those things. Are we going to, just 1 second, Greg, we're not going to have an issue with the break, are we?
Don't think so.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll take a break real quick. You'll be able to stay on the other side, correct, Mark?
Yes, I'll look forward to it.
Okay, cool. All right, let's take a break real quick. You're listening to Liberty Underground. We'll be back right after these messages.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back, Liberty Underground, 1787network.com. On the phone with us, candidate for U.S. Congress for the special election that is being held in the Pinellas County area to replace Bill Young. Mark Bircher is on with us right now. We're going to go into a little bit of a rapid-fire round where we're going to ask some questions, varying topics, and really kind of questions that are just kind of yes or no ones, current events, current things that have happened. Recently, Congress passed the joint bill that was done with Paul Ryan and Patty Murray, was passed through the House, went through the Senate. I think the president is, if he hasn't signed it yet, is getting ready to sign it. Would you have been a yes vote or a no vote on that deal?
No. More taxes, more spending for a destination somewhere out in the future that won't happen, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely on that one. It was a bad deal from the start. But go ahead, Danielle. You got the next one?
Yeah, this is actually someone who sent in a question. Wanted to know where you stand on civil liberties, gay marriage, legalization of marijuana, things like that.
Civil liberties, if it requires uniformity in the federal government, that's separate. If it's a question that the states can answer, like gay marriage, marijuana, as a lawyer, I'm a process guy. I want that in the correct venue, which I think is clearly the legislature, so the bright lights of debate can tell us all that is there need to be known, and we can do it in our states. The Bill of Rights is only intended as a shield against federal power. Under selective incorporation, now the federal government has selectively incorporated many of the amendments as what was intended to be a shield against the federal government and now a sword against the states. I'm a very strong believer in the Second Amendment. As you know, it hasn't been incorporated. The federal government doesn't come to the states and say your 30,000 gun laws are wrong, as they have in the First, Fourth, Fifth, and others, if that makes any sense. Strong, my brochures, my webpage, a return to our fundamental liberties. I'll leave it with this point. The purpose of government is to guarantee rights, not to decide whether to give them or not.
Okay. The other question would be, currently we have the administration, the current administration is, and the NSA is currently collecting the data on all of the Americans to the tune of, what they're claiming is billions of phone calls a day. Some people think it's more, some people think it's less. Do you think that that what the NSA is currently doing is unconstitutional?
Okay, let me say that I'd love to answer that question in 6 months or a year from now, having been on the inside and hearing the totality of facts, as I would like to as a lawyer. But the truth is, it's very much like in the military. You'd like to have perfect knowledge, but you don't get it. You don't have 2 days all the time to figure it out. Sometimes you don't have 20 seconds. My answer is this. I believe, from what I know, imperfect knowledge, this is a tremendous overreach into the American people. And almost, if you're a student of history, whenever government starts to scrutinize its own people, that should be a red flag. And when I read the justification is, we only do this if we get a phone call from a known terrorist. Well, as a lawyer, I want to know what your evidence is that that's that's a conclusion under law that wouldn't be allowed without a process. So, short answer, I really want to look at that. My opinion is it is overreach. I'm open to the totality of the circumstances convincing me otherwise. Right now, I think it's overreach.
Okay, and going kind of along that line, would you be in favor of pulling out our troops in Iraq and Iraq we're already out of, but Afghanistan and some other conflicts around, some other military areas around the world?
Let me answer that this way, because I think it's maybe with my background one of the most important questions you can ask. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, powers of Congress declare war. Now, I don't want to get too ethereal on a constitutional argument, but let's be pragmatic about it. Let us look at our military history since we stopped. 5 times we declared war in this country, and 5 times we achieved a military end state. And some of it, arguably, not the most noble reason. It might have been land grabs, but we achieved military end state. Now, let's look at what's happened since we stopped declaring our wars. Let's look at the first day of the Korean War compared to the last day. Were our goals served or not? Let's look at the first day after the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, the War Powers Acts, that expanded the power of the president, in my view, impermissibly, where the president now can more or less act like a king in sending the military. I think that threatens liberty. I think it's a bad idea. Since only the people pay in blood and treasure, the framers said only the people should decide. FDR certainly had a mandate to go to war with the Pacific Fleet in Pearl Harbor, but he went through the process, and that's for good reason, because the time to test the resolve of American people for combat and fighting and the expenditure of blood and treasure is not at the Chosin Reservoir. It is not at Khe Sanh. It is not at Fallujah or Ramadi. It is before it starts. So I'll just keep playing what has happened since we got away from declaring our wars. How long have we been in I was a part of an invasion. We were mostly thinking it would be a 3-week, month-long war. I was recalled active duty again in 2006 for the same war. So the point is, I'm a process guy. I believe that this argument, the bright lights of the floor of the Congress to get all the facts out there, because if we can't articulate a military mission, a military end state, it's not a military mission. My job when I went into Iraq in 2003 was to topple Saddam Hussein's regime. Well, that's a political end state by design. Military forces, as Clausewitz was right, and thing getting ethereal, that military action is diplomacy by other means. You are supposed to use a military to achieve something you can't with diplomacy. If Saddam needed to go, in my opinion, it was the duty of the Iraqi people to have him go. And that was a lawful order. I do my duty because that's my oath.
Well,
the answer to your question is, I want to go into the Constitution. I want to declare wars before we get into them and then figure out what our resolve is.
Well, and I completely understand that, and I definitely want to return to declaring war too, but if we were declaring war, you would be sitting in Congress, so I'm more asking how you would vote. Would you vote to remove our troops from Afghanistan because it wasn't a constitutionally declared war?
Okay, let me give you the answer as clear as I can. The process is the key. The reason I cannot answer that is we did not go through the process of what are the benefits, what are the costs. I really don't know where that would go because we circumvented that process, and I think the proof of that is this. In 1944, you could have gone to Normandy and asked a 19-year-old PFC with a year in the Army what his mission was. He could have said, I know what my mission is. It's the unconditional surrender of Germany. You could have gone to Iwo Jima in February 1945 and asked the same question. People knew what their mission was. Now, under this process, I haven't heard an articulable end state that is, in my view, a requirement before you send in military forces. If you can't articulate a clear, definitive military objective, I'm not sure it's a military mission. And I'm not second-guessing. It's very important for me to establish. I spent 33 years with a commission. I believe in our system. I believe they were lawful orders. I believe we can do better. That's all. So if that makes any sense, I'd rather see our
our process works, so I could answer your question because I actually could see, rather than make the president the decision maker, let's make the people through that process where I have the totality of the information, then I can give you a meaningful answer. Right now, I don't think I can.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying here. My next question for you, it does still relate into the realm of foreign policy, and as it currently stands right now, we are dealing with a debt that is out of control. And with that being said, that we're going to have to see, actual cuts in every level, in every facet up in the federal government, and that does include entitlements, and it does include not entitlements, it's Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. It includes a lot of these different things that are out there. It's also going to have to include the military. What percentage of a cut do you think that we're going to have to that you would be willing to support when it comes to the amount of money that we give to the military? But also, let me preface it by saying that the last thing in the world that we should ever be cutting is the pensions for military service people. There's a lot of other places in the military that they could actually cut things. Are you going to be willing to make the cuts across the board that's going to also include military cuts?
Hey, great question. Let me answer the first part. For the part about the social programs, I'm not convinced we need cuts. I'm convinced we need to change the venue for the people to decide. This idea that everybody's allegiance and everybody's support of a program is linearly connected to how much money you want to throw into it, I think that's a false construct. People actually got sick and there was hospitals before the federal government invented its powers in the 1960s. So I'm not convinced that we need to cut. We need to get the venue back to where it's meaningful. My father-in-law is an 80-year-old retired doctor that still volunteers like he has his whole life. There's other ways besides how much money do you want to put towards something, be it education, healthcare. That cannot always be the metric, and I think that's gotten us in trouble. More specifically on the cuts on the military. Policy follows interests. Again, that's a process that I believe, without the totality of the information, I really can't answer what that has to be without sitting there and looking at what do our policy advisors think, how much is it going to cost. I will say this. The people in the military, I think, should have a stronger view on what we actually procure. Much of our expense is in weapons procurement. Far too much, in my view, is politicized into what we're going to build for districts, rather than this is one thing I learned in running large organizations as a commanding general. The higher you go, the more you rely on telling people what they need to do, and you get away from how they need to do it. And the what in our military is a defense posture that we need to respond to threats. We need to define that under policy. And then we go to the military and say, to achieve this requirement, what do you need? And then we take notes and we decide, and that's our procurement side of it. So that's not as strong as is happening right now. And I won't go into all the details, but again, I'm a process guy. The actual money that's going to be cut, I couldn't go there without first knowing what the process is on establishing our policy and then going into seeing how we're going to pay for it.
All right. The next question. Go ahead, Danielle.
Okay. And, since we're on the topic of foreign policy, how would you vote foreign aid? Would we continue to give foreign aid to other countries? Would we end some of it? If we would, to whom? And would we end all of it?
In my opinion, the United States is under a fiscal emergency. I think if we just put this down to our own personal expenses, we need to understand, I think, and look at our debt, our deficit. That's one metric we have to study. But we can't do it in a vacuum. We have interests around the world. What I think there needs to be is more of a time where we say, what are our interests, how much do we need to pay, and just kind of rack and stack as you would in your own house on what your priorities are.
And that's kind of another conversation I need to sit down there, because I'm ready to continue foreign aid if it's tied to a justification of the interests of the American people, even though we're currently in debt. Do I think we can do better? I certainly think we ought to scrutinize this. I think we would have much more money, as I've railed on in my diatribe here on how I think we're spending our money imprudently. But that's another one of those process questions, because the interest that money goes to, I really think I could quickly come up to speed on whether it's worth writing debt for and what our interests to be served. I'm open to the idea that we would keep our foreign aid if it was connected enough to our interests.
Okay, and I'm going to totally change gears on you here. We actually states like Colorado and Washington State have kind of asserted their state sovereignty and legalized, or at least decriminalized, marijuana, and a lot of states have done this for medical reasons. They've done it for just, in general. But now the federal government is kind of threatening to go in there. Would you vote in favor of stepping into a state that has legalized marijuana?
Great question, and of course the ethereal legal arguments I'll leave out, though. You have the conflict of laws, the supremacy clause of the Constitution as opposed to the laws of the state. Here's what I think. I ask myself this question: does this policy need to be uniform, like it does for organizing and training the military and foreign policy and tariffs, like the FAA? I mean, there's something you need the central government doing because the legislature in Nebraska can't figure it. You know it when you see it. My opinion is this: I think the Ninth Amendment, I think the states, whether they want to have medical marijuana or recreational marijuana, I'm open to the idea that should go through a process. I know how I personally feel, how I would vote, but I'm open to the idea that other people have other opinions. I don't see a need for uniformity in that area. But let me underline everything I just said with this. There's going to be a consequence of every policy, whether it's alcohol or marijuana or spending or schools or everything else. And what is key to our system is preserving the right to fail. That's where I think our government kind of gets sideways and cross purposes with the people by coming in and saying nobody can fail, whether it's an individual or whether it's a billion-dollar corporation. Our system has kind of a Darwinistic aspect to it. You must preserve the right to fail. For example, Colorado. If 5 years from now, Colorado believes that what they have done is a good thing, they've gotten tax revenues, they haven't seen a spike in their accidents, nothing happens in a vacuum. Other states are going to look at that, and they're going to start creating their policy. Conversely,
Mark, just we're running. Mark, if you don't mind, we are running at the end. Just so you know, if you could give the website address for your campaign real quick, I want to make sure we're able to get that out. Could you give that real quick? But we're right up at the end.
All right, bircherforcongress.com. But I got to say, if Colorado fails, that will have a consequence. That's what I believe in.
I got you. No, absolutely. And last question, if we have enough time. Jarhead, positive term, yes or no?
Like most terms like that, it depends on who the speaker is.
Exactly.
If it's Marine.
Exactly. I'm allowed to say it. Other people, it might be a pejorative. Mark Bircher, thank you very much. We appreciate your time, Jarhead, and have a great day. That's hour number 2 in the bag. Hour number 3 is coming up. Looks like we might have Ben Swann. You're listening to Liberty Underground. I guess we're taking a break, or what are we doing?
Above.
This is Gary Johnston, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with camera. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back. Hour number 3, Liberty Underground. On the line with us right now. In 1 second he'll be on the line with us because that's Greg's giving me the one signal for that. And I'm not supposed to say that on the air. That really irks both of these people, and they give me the "What are you doing, Alex?" symbol. Greg's doing that right now. He's Brandon Jones with the Global Dispatch, which was so nice to allow us to finish the conversation with candidate Bircher, retired general, and I appreciate that. But Brandon, how are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm not as pretty as Ben Swann, and unlike many people running for political office, I can't answer a yes or no question.
Did you listen? Did you?
Snap!
Hold on. Did you listen to the interview?
Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful to Mr. Bircher, but actually, whenever it's a lightning fast round with yes or no questions, you actually have to answer yes or no occasionally. Otherwise, it's a little hard for me to believe that you're going to actually do what you say when you go to Washington.
Well,
you know what?
The impression that I got was it was more of a, I won't tell you how I feel until you elect me.
Here's the again, and Danielle, it's funny enough that you would say that, considering before we had that conversation where you weren't going to mention anything after the interview.
Well, because Brandon brought it up, I had to give my
Oh, I
opinion,
got you.
but
I got you.
If we, I actually
Blame the guest.
It's all Brandon's fault. Throw Brandon under the bus.
No, and
we make him late for the show, like right, and because we do the interview, and then he gets on, and you throw him under the bus. Then
I actually would have said that to Mark Bircher had we had time.
I got you. We were running out of time.
We were running out of time, but I really did want to say to him, you're not actually answering anything.
There was other questions we wanted to get to, but we wanted to make sure that above all else, one of the things that I feel when it comes to interviews like that is that you give the candidate the ability to fully discuss the issue. Is Brandon still there? Because I heard that little beep thing. Oh, okay.
I'm still here.
Okay, good. I want to make sure that I give the candidate the time to fully answer the questions, even if we don't necessarily agree with the question or the answer. It's just giving that person enough time to be able to fully explain it is at least my opinion on it.
I have a lot more respect for people that I disagree with that at least answer. Like, and I say this a lot. If you go up there and do exactly what you say you're going to do, even if I disagree with you, I have to at least respect that you didn't mislead me. I just don't know where he stands on anything, and I think that's what the issue is.
Well, look, and maybe Brandon will do an interview with him too, and maybe Brandon can do a better job than we did.
Yeah, I hope so. Brandon,
I mean, anybody here probably do a better job on an interview.
I'm not criticizing the interviewers. I was just saying, as like many politicians, they do not like an A or B answer at all because it can be used against them in the court of public opinion.
Well, no, and that's true as well. I mean, especially when it came down to the Social Security and the Medicaid questions, like that is one of those, like, if you answer that one the straight way, there's no way you're going to be able to live that one down.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was looking for the plan. I really was looking for plan stuff on that.
I was looking for plans, and I think you kept asking really specific questions, and then he said, well, we have to hold them accountable. And then I was like, well, how do we do that?
Well, the other thing is,
like, well, we can't.
Well, and the other thing is the tax one, though. I actually, when it comes to the tax one, I may have explained it a different way, but I am totally on board
actually agree with
the tax one.
Yeah.
Apportioning it to the states and having the states collect it as they see fit or how they want to do it is a great idea. After running for office, I started looking into the tax thing more because I was really more of a fair tax guy, a consumption-based tax guy, which I would probably still go towards that because that would be a way to get to apportionment, in my opinion, would be that. But I do like the tax one. I just, like I said, I was... Again, I'm looking for those direct answers, and I when I don't get them, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I was fair and all that stuff. But
yeah,
what's going on in your world, Brandon?
Yeah, let's get on.
Let's talk about Brandon for a little while.
What's
going on in your world?
Where should we go? There's so many things happening. I don't even know where to drive the car to this morning.
You know what? Here's the thing. We talked about it earlier. It only makes sense to get your perspective on it. It's the Duck Dynasty thing.
Dynasty.
Just give us your perspective on it quickly.
I'm not a huge Duck Dynasty fan. My children have watched it some, and they kind of got me watching a few episodes. If you know a little bit of the background of the show and the family, you'll know that Phil Robertson, founded this company. They become wealthy. The son goes to school, becomes the CEO of the company, makes them multi-million dollars. And Phil Robertson in particular lives kind of below that means. The son lives in a mansion that's kind of portrayed on the show a lot, but Phil's home is, much more modest, and he's very vocal about his religion. He's very vocal about, he's spoken out and got, allegedly in some hot water over speaking out against abortion and some of those things. And when you read his quote, I don't know that it is, as the Huffington Post called, a vile statement against homosexuality. It's just what he believes. And I don't think that the backlash will last very long. He'll be right back on the show because if they decide to cancel any aspect of that show, I can't imagine them, when their contract expires, they'll just leave then. They'll just take the show somewhere else because it's just so popular. And people have asked me about it during the course of the week, and I've tried to explain, listen, for an evangelical Christian and for someone that will speak out against gay marriage and abortion and yet still be a very nice guy, he's a very civil guy. He's not mean to people or anything like that. He's not mean-spirited. It kind of represents who many of us see ourselves as, and for you to attack him the way you have, or try to say he doesn't have the free speech, the ability to say these things, is very insulting, and he'll garner more support than he even had before. And it's a very odd reality show. It's definitely not for everyone. I'm not watching episodes regularly, but I don't dislike the show. It's just not your typical reality show. But I really could care less about the story other than just saying it's a huge, massive story that's just consuming the internet right now.
Yeah, exactly. What else is going on out there that's probably way more important than that, by the way?
Well, another week of NSA. More countries are definitely connected and in collusion with the United States. We knew about Germany and Spain in particular that were, helping the NSA gather information, and more information has come forward. More documents have tied more states to this, so now we have 9 European Union countries that are all in collusion with the NSA. And, of course, Greenwald's come out this week. We had posted a story on him basically talking about the end game here is to end global privacy. They don't believe in privacy. They don't believe you can do what you want to do, and that's on a global scale. It's under the facade of security, under the facade of national security in America. The NSA is breaking these barriers down. Also this week was the Facebook reality, where the documents showing how Facebook tracks every single thing you type. And we have said very honestly before, so listen, even if you don't post something, if you type it and if you hit delete or you leave it in draft or whatever, they still know it's there. And they not only have it, it goes to the NSA, because everything they have goes to the NSA. So those revelations, I think, for people, even if you get one more person to kind of get it or a second person to kind of get it, is really all we kind of hope for, because the general public appeal right now is they could care absolutely less.
No, absolutely. Now, a follow-up question to that is, it was said in the beginning by Greenwald, and I think it was said in the beginning by Snowden as well, that when they first started putting some of this information out, that they had a ton more of information, that they've only actually put out a very small percentage of the actual information that they have. I guess the question is, what else do you think that these guys have? Because I don't think that the biggest revelations have actually come out yet. I think that they did like a medium to large one, but there's some other very large ones that are out there. I guess, one, do you think that there's a lot more that they're going to put out? And two, do you think do you agree with me that it's going to be like huge stuff?
The stuff he's putting out are really a lot of just the program names, program details, a lot of semantics behind the scenes of stuff that many of us who knew about the program kind of already knew existed. So he's not really, again, this is why, to me, it's not earth-shattering, and why it's so exaggerated with the John Boltons of the world that wants to see him, quote, hanging, which was a very just insulting and incredible comment to make this week. What you hope that they have, or the most incriminating thing that they could have, is an actual list of people. You or I are on a list that have files on us. We've done nothing wrong. They don't have a warrant, and that would allow us to file a major lawsuit against them. That's why the ACLU lawsuits have always failed, because there's no one has standing. You can't prove they have file on you. You can't prove they have the tracking on you. You've been sort of identified, and they don't have search and seizure warrants to protect your constitutional rights. So if they get to that point and they release something like that, that is earth-shattering. That can change the program. That could end the program. However, if it's just this kind of stuff for a long period of time, people are already growing weary of it. You know what I mean? It's like just, coming out with another program that indicts Denmark isn't going to get an American to care about the fact that the NSA is going through their email.
Do you? Let me ask another question then. Do you think that they went about this the right way, or do you think that Greenwald and Snowden made like large mistakes as it went to putting the data out there? I'm not talking about his, how he had to go to China and then he went to Russia. I'm talking about putting out of the information. Do you think they did it the wrong way?
No, definitely not. And I don't think that, again, we've had discussions on this, and we compared it to the WikiLeaks situation and Bradley Manning. And for me, the line in the sand is, are we putting anybody at risk? And the answer has resoundingly, if it's a Snowden thing, been no. And as the court decided this week, there was a local case that was New Mexico decided it was unconstitutional, and it's because, well, they can't even prove that the terrorists have been stopped. They can't even prove that there's anything successful from this program. We compare that to the WikiLeaks thing. That's where it gets a little more dicey, because there were certain documents and there were certain different things that were put out that put people at risk. There were people that lives were endangered. There were some folks that were embedded in different spies for us, basically, lack of a better term, that could have gotten killed or may have gotten killed because of the WikiLeaks leak. The Snowden one has not shown any signs of having anything like that at this point.
Because it was such a high level difference where they were going into process more. I don't even want to use the word process at this point, but they were going into process more than anything else. That they were really going into what these guys are doing, high level stuff.
Yeah, it's not life-threatening that we're monitoring the Pope. It's not life-threatening that we're monitoring G20. It's not life-threatening that we know what's in Merkel's voicemail box.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, I know that it's not great for diplomacy. It's not necessarily at all great for ethics. None of that's an American system. None of that's a violation of any rights. So even if that is what they're doing, they can be mad at us all they want, but that's technically not an illegal thing. It definitely causes anyone to lose their life. Now, we get to the American issue, that's a little bit different because you're talking about our constitutional rights, and that's where it's been a dicey topic.
Yeah. What else is going on out there that is another important issue that tends to get overlooked when we have guys that make duck whistles attacked?
Well, the news itself has actually been a little bit more benign than one might think. The Obama stuff has kind of cooled down as we head into the holidays. Behind the scenes, you're seeing some different congressional things move forward a little bit. Mike Lee did put forward a bill that will protect churches from federal penalty, for lack of a better term, if they don't want to go along with, let's say, gay marriage. So that bill's moved forward a little bit. But from a earth-shattering standpoint, news standpoint, this is one of the reasons that the Duck Dynasty thing has become such a phenomenon, is because there's not a lot of other sensational news in the news cycle. You know, we have a assassination, a big shooting that happens in the Philippines, and you have a high-profile politician in the Philippines that gets shot and killed, and CNN doesn't care. So, Duck Dynasty is more interesting. So that's, it's not really earth-shattering with the kind of stuff that's been going on in the news, and that's kind of why we're at where we are.
No, absolutely. I saw also on the Global Dispatch's website, you did the biggest political hypocrites of 2013, which is very funny that you had all these, that you have, different people that were considered the biggest political hypocrites here. Could you go down some of the people that you have highlighted to get your the BPH award of 2013? We'll name it the Global Dispatch BPHs. So which politicians got there?
We love to have some fun with this at the end of the year and just kind of profile different stories and different things that are interesting. And the two that really stood out to me, we could, I don't know, to me I thought most lists are going to have, the president and take a comment that he made, maybe take the whole, you can keep your insurance quote and all that. But to me, I wanted to find something that's a little bit more direct, something more like a major flip, kind of a John Kerry award, kind of that kind of thing. And I selected Mitch McConnell, obviously the government shutdown, trying to be a Tea Party candidate, trying to seem like he's all Mr. Liberty and all these kinds of things. And yeah, at the same time, when the government shutdown deal gets done, he's got this monster Kentucky kickback going his way so that they can work on a dam. So all the stuff about federal spending, all the stuff that's supposed to be about government shutdown, at the end, we jack up more debt because this guy gets some money for his state. So he was candidate A. Candidate B was our own Marco Rubio, which I know you guys have already discussed regularly, but don't think you hold a lot of water on Obamacare anymore when you're going to take a federal subsidy, quote, for the family. I love that.
Yeah.
It's in this quote, talks about his family's suffering, because they need that $10,000 subsidy. It's so insulting.
It really is.
As he personally makes $174,000 a year off the taxpayers.
That's the one thing that kills me about this is that whenever you're going to call somebody out for an obvious wrong that they have done and an obvious show of hypocrisy, that they hide behind their kids. Like, well, I got to do it for my kids, man, because that 174. And it ain't like that dude doesn't get, hold on. As a sitting senator, you still can get speaker fees, can't you?
Yes, he can still make speaker fees. His wife, I think, is basically the one that controls all of the other assets that they had previously. She also works. So their family.
She's a fundraiser.
Yeah, she's
in the process. She's in the job of getting large amounts of money.
She's a very large fundraiser in the state of Florida. So she's making quite lofty commissions in Florida. Plus his speaker fees and his $174,000 salary that he gets off of the taxpayers. He's making a substantial amount of money in his family.
And to To make this matter worse, by the way, isn't it a greater selling point to go and to take the fact that there is a subsidy for federal employees? Isn't it a better argument to say, listen, the fact that we need that is all the reason we don't need Obamacare, right? If we need to actually subsidize this for federal employees whose average salary is like $70,000 a year, then maybe something's wrong with the program. I mean, if he's such an attacker of the program and such a Tea Party guy, then that would have been like the perfect hit. Well, they want me to take this subsidy. I got to sign up for this, stupid program, whatever. He can spin this, but instead he plays, well, it's to offset my family expenses.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I really thought it was just in such poor taste because he could have really highlighted this and said, if this is affordable health care, why do we need to subsidize so many people?
Yeah.
And instead, he just was like, well, I need the money.
Well, there's another point I wanted to make on this, and it may not be the point that you see all the time made here, but you know how Boehner came out and said that the Tea Party's lost, credibility because of that debt deal, and that's just completely wrong. I mean, the crier Boehner is just so wrong in that one; it's not even funny. But in my opinion, this is where these groups do lose their credibility when it comes to not being as vocal as possible, as vocal as they would be on the Democrats when it comes to calling out this kind of hypocrisy. That the fact that this hasn't been called out in a serious way, like you don't see the Fire Rubio websites, you know what I mean, or the mass actions by Freedom Works and the mass actions by AFP to call these guys out seriously, not just the arbitrary, Rubio shouldn't have done it, but like they're making a point of focusing on this. The fact that they don't do this actually is, in my opinion, the things that lose all the credibility for me. What's your thoughts on that, Brandon?
Well, to go a step further, the ones that will still offer him a speaking engagement just because they want to be able to fill the place off and make a bunch of money off tickets. So that's really going to be the telltale sign over the course of the next 2 years. Who's going to campaign with Rubio? Who's going to stand next to Rubio, who's a pro-legal immigration amnesty and now an Obamacare subsidy holder? It's a little hard to know, who's going to stand, who's not going to stand with him. Because right now you feel like everyone rolls over. There's not a spine. We have like 6 people with a spine in Washington right now.
Yeah. That you're absolutely right about that. There are like 6 people, and at the I'd argue 1. I mean, I guess you got to go.
Smokers table. They're not. You were in high school, and there was like the outside table, which was like basically where kids would smoke. But you didn't really ever talk about that. But that's where it was out there. That's where they are. It's like Justin Amash is there. Rand Paul goes out from time to time, and he'll have a smoke. But he'll go inside too and stand next to McConnell for a photo. But you really don't know if he's a chain smoker, if he just smokes a little bit. Mike Lee's kind of the same way. Like he'll smoke a couple days a week, but not every day. No photos of him smoking, just a little bit. Justin Amash is there by himself, pretty much day in, day out.
He's gonna have lung cancer by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, based on my analogy, Justin Amash needs a lot of prayer right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, his name is Brandon. The website is The Global Dispatch. Brandon, also, thank you for being patient with us when it came to the Bircher interview. I appreciate you being willing to compromise on the times, even though you are a very principled person.
Well, I don't have a problem making those kind of changes. Thanks, guys, for having me. And you guys have a wonderful Christmas. And, talk hard.
Talk hard. All right, Brandon, thank you very much. Man, I love talking to Brandon, by the way. Try him again. I shouldn't have said it on the air. Sorry.
His mic is off. Yours is not.
I'll just start asking the questions on the air then.
Well, if that works better for you. I mean, you might get a better response that way.
Well, then at least everybody knows what your answer is.
Why are you talking to me when you should be calling Ben?
What do you think I'm doing?
What am I doing over here, huh? I'm calling the guy for you. I went dice on you there right there.
You did.
Jack and Jill. Oh, we're off the thing, right? Jack and Jill went up the hill, both with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50.
I love when you do dice.
I miss dice.
Yeah,
I really do. The good dice. Like when he had that just jacket that was way out of control, and he would use his hand. I can't even do that.
I can't. I do that all the time.
I can't even smoke like that, man. It's crazy what he did there. But yeah, he was a great comedian. That was awesome when that. And we're trying to work on. Yeah, we're working on Ben Swann. Is busy?
It says busy.
It's 11:25. We said 11:30. So. We're still working on getting Ben Swann for the last half hour of the show.
Apparently, there was a time zone issue.
I totally called that, by the way.
You did.
You did, Greg. Greg,
you did.
Greg, you got some lotto numbers for me on Saturday, maybe? Let me get a pen and paper, write this stuff down, man. Give me some numbers. Hey, give me some numbers real quick, Greg, just out of curiosity.
13.
13, all right.
4.
28.
32.
51. 51. That's 5. I think I need 6, right?
42.
42. All right. All right, I hope that wins. If not, I'm going to sue you.
Okay. You can sue me for everything I have in escrow.
Of course, now every listener is going to play those same numbers.
Cool. Then all of us win together.
It's going to be split 3 ways.
Oh, you don't know if it's going to be pop. Oh, that was wrong. That was so wrong.
At least it'll be split 6 ways.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We were
possibly up to 10.
We were supposed to have Ben Swann on today, so
that's right. We got
right.
Well, back to the Bircher interview. I'm actually not going to comment. I'm going to take Danielle's advice and not comment any more than go back and listen. And if you have other questions or if your questions didn't get answered, then make sure that you contact that campaign and that you ask them those questions. Because, just again, I will say that I do like them to be. Look, I understand that you got to go, well, we got to see what's going on, but it doesn't change the fact that you have an opinion on it and that you should give that opinion.
Right.
But I'm gonna be nice about it, though. I'm not being mean. I think we were more than fair.
Yeah, I definitely think that, I definitely tried to be fair. I was getting a little frustrated. But I actually would like to have him back on because I actually have a lot more questions that we didn't get to. And I'd actually like to re-ask some of the questions that I feel like I didn't get the answer to.
I'd like to get some answers to the questions we did ask.
Well, look, if he wins the primary, we'll
definitely if he wins the primary.
Well, here's the thing. If he wins the primary, I'll hold a debate.
Yes.
We'll invite Alex Sink. We'll have Lucas. We'll have there.
Yeah.
If 2 of them show up, then the 2 of them show up. I don't think Alex Sink would show up because here's the thing. And the one thing is this. Look, Bircher, for whether you like the answers or not, did respond to the RLC survey.
Yes, he did.
Everyone did but Alex Sink.
And I do have to say that he has proven a very proficient knowledge of the words of the Constitution.
He did do that, too. He did do that as well. But I will say this. Look, man, I guarantee you that between Monday and Friday of this week, there were probably people that told that guy, are you crazy for going on that show? Are you out of your mind? You know how much those guys hate Republicans? Like, do you realize what you're walking into? They're not going to be nice, I would imagine that was said. Oh, no. The one thing we will do on interviews, almost to a fault.
Yes.
And some people have given us crap for it, is the way that we'll do interviews. One of the reasons we don't do a lot of interviews, except for like people we totally agree with, because then we can be that way. I mean, it's
and you're not going to get a bunch of crap.
And I'm not going to get a bunch of crap.
And I will say this: that when we do have Lucas on, I will ask him the same questions.
Yeah. Matter of fact, what I would like to do is I would like to go back on the tape. I would like to know in the specific questions we asked that weren't like personal ones, like not the ones that were in response to something
that he specifically
said.
But
I would like to go back and ask Lucas the exact same questions. And we've asked Lucas some of these questions before, and we've heard the answers, and we don't even like all of his answers. It ain't like anybody we like anybody's answers 100%.
Well, no,
because everybody's an individual, and you're not going to like everybody's stuff.
Everybody is going to be different, and the only person that I'm going to agree with 100% is me.
And you don't even agree with yourself all the time.
And a lot of times I second guess myself. So, I mean, I definitely.
I heard you yelling at yourself the other day. I just thought you were going insane.
Well, earlier I said I was going to boycott me.
Yeah, exactly. You're ready to boycott yourself.
So, the views expressed by Danielle Alexandra do not represent the views of Danielle Alexandra.
I don't even understand this anymore. What am I doing?
So, no.
I'm boycotting me now.
Now, I'm
actually going to boycott Greg.
I don't agree with everyone 100%.
You're not the only one.
And I never will, but I do have a lot of respect for people who give me a straight up answer. And as much as I do believe that Mark Bircher is a very astute student of the Constitution, I don't think he's thought out his plan all the way. And I hope that in the next couple weeks, as we take kind of a holiday break and he goes back into heavy campaigning, he fixes that issue. I actually think he's probably much better than Bill Young. And he probably is much better than David Jolly and Kathleen Peters.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's like that goes. Here's the thing.
But the bar was set really low.
Yeah. First off, if you are a Republican and you're going to maintain your Republicanness into the primary and you live in that area, like, it ain't even close who to vote for in that one.
Right.
Like, it ain't even like... Peters is the scariest one.
Yes.
By far. By far.
By far.
That chick is like Lindsey Graham with a dress, man. She wants to detain you and... Well, you know what's funny is I always consider Lindsey Graham in a dress too. I don't even.
Which is what?
That's a tough one. Okay, but Peters is absolutely the most despicable one of the three. Jolly
is a scary dude.
He's only slightly better than Peters.
Yeah, and just
he's
slightly.
worse, but like on a whole different level though.
Right.
Like Jolly is the establishment's pick, and he's been like their boy for like a long time, but he's not necessarily the Republican establishment's pick. He's the it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on pick.
Well, he's the kind of guy that is the evidence towards what we say all the time, that there is no difference between the two parties. It's not the two parties, it's the establishment.
Yeah.
It's the people who control everything.
And this guy's part of that. He was paying some of those. Again, Jesse Jackson was his largest.
Jesse Jackson
he
Jr.
personally wrote a check to Jesse Jackson Jr. Dude's in jail right now.
For spending those checks on his own stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
On Rolexes.
Now, and you can't blame Jolly for what Jesse Jackson did with the money.
Absolutely
But
not.
you can blame Jolly for giving it to him.
Yeah.
Because you should have known that crap going into the deal, and you didn't. You know, that guy's giving more Democrats money. Again, if you're a Republican, you can't vote for Jolly.
No, I definitely think if a Republican were to ask me who I thought was the best pick in the Republican primary, I would have to say Bircher, but like I said, the bar was set really, really low. So, you know, I mean, I can't say that I'm upset with anything that he said. I don't think he said enough.
You're looking for a different answer than what
I'm
than what
looking
you
for
got.
an answer.
An answer, yeah.
I want to know his opinion, not what the Constitution says. I'm very well read on the Constitution.
Well, he did give a little bit more specific on the Jarhead one, so.
Yes.
I don't know if that really equated to public policy, but for me as a Marine, I was just curious on where he stood on Jarhead.
Yeah.
You guys don't find the humor in that. I'm sorry. You know what it is? Most people listening to the show have no idea of the humor on that. Marines laughing their ass off.
Yeah. And that's great. Happy for you.
Sorry. I'm trying to line up our next interview.
my bad.
That doesn't equate well to how I think they'll govern. So the fact that he answered the question of the use of the word jarhead correctly doesn't give me the confidence that he should represent me in federal office.
Oh, I didn't think so either. I just needed to know the Jarhead one. So,
Oh, okay.
Just you have to forgive me for that. Are we good, Greg?
I'm working on it.
Working on it. Working on it. It looked like you were looking happy there. So
It's not busy anymore. So
Oh,
I'm,
nice.
I'm
okay.
hopeful.
Nice. Dun 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 dun. I don't even know what I'm doing there.
I don't
I was
know
trying to do
either.
Mission Impossible, but I totally messed it up.
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah. So, what else was we going to go into here? We got
we have tons of show prep actually now because
before we get Ben on the phone, we'll do Trey Radel. Trey Radel, our favorite cokehead,
alcoholic,
our alcoholic cokehead who blamed Obamacare for his coke addiction or his alcoholism, which turned into his gateway drug to cocaine.
because Obamacare was stressful.
Yeah, because Obamacare was so stressful, will not resign after leaving rehab.
He's already left rehab, which I gotta say, that's like the shortest rehab ever.
Yeah, that's not even a good rehab.
Like, not only is he an alcoholic cokehead
He's had the best vote since he went to rehab.
that can't take the pressure of voting.
I'm actually going to go with a wild conspiracy here. Let me go down the wild conspiracy road here on Trey Radel. I think that Trey Radel did coke because he didn't want to have to vote on the Paul Ryan plan. I think it all had to do with the Paul Ryan plan. He wanted to find a way to get out of it.
He saw that one coming down the line.
And he was like, man, I got to get on some coke, man. I got to get on some coke. Then I got to get it admitted, get it caught. Then I'll be in rehab when it all goes down, and we'll be good. Besides, you knew Trey Radel was going to stay in for Christmas. You know, it's a white Christmas. It's a white Christmas, man. You can't have Radel in there when the party's going on. I like to party. I like to party.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so the news is out. Trey Radel is out of rehab because apparently alcoholic cokeheads get out of rehab in 10 seconds. And he is not going to resign his seat. He's going to stay in office, and hopefully the pressures of Washington will be better on Mr. Radel.
Don't call him up asking for stuff, though, man. That might just start sorting anthrax on you.
Because I don't know where you can. I don't know what the gateway is.
Because it ain't like no dealer's going to deal with him in Washington anymore. He's just going to have to get it through the mail, and sometimes they ship anthrax to the Capitol.
Wait. This is great because Trey Radel has like the best quotes ever. This is his quote coming out of rehab. Alcohol does not work for me. It was selfishly fun, but it became a problem when it led to poor choices and, more than that, missed opportunities. It never interfered with my congressional obligations. But it led me down a path that slowly but surely chipped away my relationship with my wife, my children, and God. It led to really bad decisions which put me here today.
You're still blaming the alcoholism for the cocaine.
Yeah, and it was selfishly fun.
Selfishly fun. Hey, look, man, I got to tell you, man, I've heard cocaine is selfishly fun.
So
I would never personally. Here's the thing. You know what? I'm a libertarian. I'd never do coke.
Maybe. Okay, now he has said that he's an alcoholic, but he's saying in this quote that alcohol does not work for me. So maybe the alcoholism wasn't working for him. Maybe it wasn't as selfishly fun, and that's why he had to go to the coke.
I do drink, though. I will throw back a couple every once in a while. So I will do that, though. I mean,
I do a lot of things.
Hey, way to go, Trey Radel. You know what I'm saying? Way to go, Trey Radel. You're out of rehab, buddy. Good job. You're not going to quit your job. The fact that most people, when they get busted with coke, are fired from their job, and you won't even quit your job is a little bit funny. But
apparently, it took a lot quicker than it did for Sandra Bullock in 28 days because rehab typically seems to take a little longer.
Oh, we have another call.
I'm just saying that rehab lasted like 10 seconds.
The Underground show.
Yeah.
And the quote coming out, I'm concerned that Trey Radel may relapse because it doesn't seem like he's taking it seriously enough.
I hope he takes the Obamacare subsidy and uses it on cocaine. I hope he uses his $10,000 for a nice highball weekend in Vegas.
That would be selfishly fun.
That would absolutely be selfishly fun. That'll definitely be selfishly fun. I hope he ends up. I actually hope this time he gets busted for soliciting a prostitute while on coke, drunk, with a half pound of meth, with 3 J's in his pocket.
That actually sounds.
But not 4 J's, 3
Just
J's.
3.
Because I want him to be able to go, but it was only 3 J's, officer, not 4.
Not 4. And that would be the quote.
Yeah, but it was only 3 J's, officer.
Only 3 J's.
I'm only mad about Obamacare. I'm not mad about anything else. If I was mad about something else, it would be 4 J's.
The implementation of Obamacare starts next month.
Yeah,
Trey Radel should be on relapse watch.
Yeah, we need a we need a suicide watch for Trey Radel. Karina Morrison, now, yes or no, will you be the suicide watch for Trey Radel?
It's the relapse watch.
Oh, the relapse watch. I'm going suicide watch, but we'll go with relapse watch. Will you admit now that you will watch Trey Radel in case he falls off the wagon?
No.
Don't mess around with the question, Karina. Answer the question directly. Will you say now on the air that you will help Trey Radel get through his next bout of cocaine addiction?
Alcoholism.
Or alcoholism. Alcohol, cocaineism.
You want a straight answer? He needs to resign now. We need Ray Netherwood up there.
Oh.
Yes, she is right on that.
Which I do got to get that. No, I did get that interview out, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I
believe you did.
1787network.com interview Ray Netherwood. Karina, though, I imagine that you're calling. I don't know why you're calling. We'll let us know.
Stop imagining it. Just let her answer why she's calling.
I was just thinking about it while I was filibustering. Go ahead, Karina.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know where the Libertarian Party of Pinellas County's tent will be at in Safety Harbor tonight.
Nice, keeping it positive, keeping it action-oriented. Go ahead, Karina.
I will. I'm excited because we're going to have Lucas and Adrian and Bill Walsifer there. So I want people to know exactly where we'll be. We're going to be down by the Safety Harbor Spa across from Dominic's Pizza between Philippi Parkway and 2nd Avenue. We'll be 1 block away from Safety Harbor Spa.
Nice, nice. So if you need to get a mani-pedi, and then afterwards you could go over there.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to, they're going to have to drag me away kicking and screaming. Oh, no, you can't go there.
Yeah.
But and I need a shout out. We need volunteers at 5 o'clock to help set up the tent because I am not allowed to help set up the tent.
You've been forbidden because you're on Trey Radel Coke Watch.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
on the wagon watch.
You're on the wagon watch. Sorry, man. I can't even do anything serious at this point, just because it's too funny. Anything else, Karina?
No, you guys rock. Thanks.
All right, have a good day, Karina. Karina Morrison, everybody. A woman of action in Pinellas County when it comes to politics, and somebody that does refuse to watch Trey Radel in case he slips back off the wagon.
You know, I would watch Trey Radel only just because he must say, like, the funniest stuff. Like, if that's what he'll say to the press, God, can you imagine what he says when he doesn't think anyone's listening?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll go with that. Any luck, by the way?
No.
No luck whatsoever, huh?
No luck whatsoever.
That's sad.
It is sad, by the way. I know I shouldn't even have said anything. If I wouldn't have said anything, then it would have all happened. It's because I said something that caused this problem.
You jinxed it.
I jinxed it. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize for that, guys.
No,
I will say this, though. Hold on. Let me be all seriousness in this. We really did do everything we could. We had everything confirmed. I wouldn't have put this back out again. I did not want to miss twice on this. And, you know, the first time I'll admit that it was my fault. This time, though, not my fault.
Yeah, there was definitely an issue with the time difference. We did actually send over that we'd like to have them on at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, but I guess it was not. It was just kind of not read in the email that it was Eastern time, so there was an hour difference. And by the time Ben did come on to be on standby for us, we were actually into the Bircher interview.
Yeah, let me just say this too, because this is not what you'd normally hear from me, but I do really like Ben Swann, and I will give him a pass.
If there's anybody that's going to get it.
Like the only one, he's one of the only people that actually would get a pass. Like Adrian wouldn't get a pass.
No, Adrian would be getting flambasted.
Yeah,
right
I would be killing Adrian.
Oh my! We'd just call him up and start harassing him. We'd be leaving him weird messages on his cell phone.
Live on the air.
Live on the air.
Although I think he did earn one free pass by calling in and being the backup.
No.
That wasn't enough.
No, you're absolutely right. That totally wasn't enough. I don't care. No.
Was that just filling in spaces of the holes he's dug?
That just means we won't attack him more. That just means we're not going to attack him any more than what we did before. What else do we have up on the board there?
I want to ask you guys because there's been some.
No, I won't do Ben. I won't watch Trey Radel. Go ahead.
Okay.
I will help him if he does get back on the wagon, though.
Will you be selfishly fun with him?
I'll party with him.
I will party with Trey Radel.
I will party with his ass, though.
I am not going to help him in rehab. I'll help him need rehab.
Apparently, his rehab is not very long anyway. So that's that's like a vacation.
Well, I think he. He's got we have a serious problem with affluenza in this country. The affluent people get by with whatever they want, and they have shorter sentences and smaller fines, and if there's any at all, and everybody else, that we get the book thrown.
That's just crazy. But we were talking with Brandon about the NSA and things like that, and now there's been some chatter that the State Department could consider amnesty for Edward Snowden if he returned all the documents. Now, how do you guys... now, if you were Edward Snowden, what would you do? Would you take the amnesty and come back?
Hell no.
No. No, because I think they're going to kill you.
Yeah. That is such a trick.
I don't trust them.
That's like the Joker, like leaving a note for Batman to get him to show up in a warehouse, and then there's a big old death trap waiting for him.
I promise you, nothing's going bad that's going to happen.
I mean it. I'm super serial. Like, we're not gonna hurt you. Just come back and bring everything you have.
It's funny, because it's like a big brother. Oh no, I'm not gonna punch you in the face again this time.
Right?
Yeah.
No, trust me.
Of course you will, man. Of course you will. No, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm your brother. I love you.
Bam. Yeah.
I definitely, I agree. I actually think that, it's one way to get him here, and there'll be some weird car crash that nobody can explain, and the only death is Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
Or the flight that he's coming in on gets shot out of the sky or something.
Right? We don't know what happened. Now, and talking about that, did you guys see now Vladimir Putin actually was giving his like annual press conference, and he actually said he envied Obama because he can spy on his allies and get away with it.
Yeah. I saw that. That was awesome.
You know, it is really bad when the leader of Russia has to come out to make a statement that he's envious of the president of our country, not because of some freedom thing, but because Putin's not allowed to be as evil as Obama is in Russia under communist rule.
And like no one seems to care. I think that's his main point is that Obama is that evil and no one cares.
And everybody's just like, well, come on, we knew that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, he does say, and this is, like, you know, like you almost get to a point where, like, you don't want to keep putting out these positive things on, like, the leader of Russia. But he actually says that Edward Snowden's actions were for a noble cause, that he was working for a noble cause. He's actually said that, you know, I mean, Putin actually said some really nice things about Edward Snowden. He said there's nothing to be upset about and nothing to be proud of. Spying has always been and is one of the oldest professions. And he basically says, I spied on people too when I was a KGB agent.
That was his job.
That was his job. So, I mean, he's coming out of there and saying, you know, yeah, we kind of all do this. Generally, the world leaders don't get away with it without anyone being mad when it's, you know, put out there in public. Obama is kind of skipped criticism on everything. But, you know, he actually does, you know, Putin makes some really very positive statements about Edward Snowden and basically says it was our country that was doing the wrong thing, not Snowden by letting us know. And now Glenn Greenwald has said that the spying had nothing to do with actual terrorism or national security, that it was all about diplomatic manipulation and economic advantage.
Yeah.
And then this is the guy who's actually seen all of it.
That's just weird, man. We live in a weird world right now. I mean,
It is
everything is
upside
like
down.
Yeah, it's upside down, and I don't get what else they're gonna have to do now in order to wake enough people up. Like, that's the part that almost is disconcerting to me. Like, and when you talk to people, like, and again, if you deal with people on an individual basis and you talk to them, like when we go door to door, people are pissed.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is really that they have really bought into, what's the right word that I want to use here? They bought into the lie, and it is a lie, that you can't make a difference. I think that's really what I think it is. You think that's a fair statement?
Oh, I definitely think that's a fair statement. I think people are frustrated. I mean, I think when we go out to the doors, you can almost feel the frustration as they're answering you because they know something's wrong. They can't necessarily put their finger on exactly what's wrong, and they're frustrated because they really feel like they don't matter and they can't make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of it, I think, has to do with the lost perspective in this country, because everyone seems to be convinced that you have to have these giant grand programs like Obamacare to make a difference. Right. And you don't. Making a difference is all about every action you take throughout the day. Every decision you make, every choice, all of it makes a difference, and there is going to be an effect. And all you have to do is make the decision in your life to make choices, take actions that are going to bring about a positive change. And even if you just change little things, little by little, ultimately it will add up to big changes later. So as more people get on board and start to come around and believe in their own individual power, their ability to change the world through their actions, as that starts to grow, I think things will get better.
Yeah, I do. I mean, and we're seeing all this stuff with the NSA, and, you know, people are getting angry. I mean, and they don't know what to do. And then, you know, but we do have an issue with priorities too, because we're hearing about, you know, stupid things like this Duck Dynasty thing all over everywhere. But this, you know, the Senate approved the NDAA just a couple days ago, and I had to really search to find it. You know, which obviously there's the provisions in there for indefinite detention of American citizens without trial, without due process. But yet, you know, everywhere I go, there's this guy, you know, who made a, you know, kind of dumb comment, really didn't matter much of anything. and he's all over every news feed everywhere. And I really had to search for, what I would consider real news. And in there was the Senate approving the NDAA again, and they're just approving it. The budget deal that we were talking about last week. There was also the approval of the NDAA in the House, and nobody talked about that. It was, the fight over the deal, and this, was this the best deal we could get, and all this other stuff. But again, the House said, well, we can indefinitely detain American citizens without due process, and that's not a news story. And where are our priorities when that's not a news story?
As long as people are getting their Starbucks and American Idol while they're being indefinitely detained, they're not going to care.
Yeah, you know what? That's the one. And Greg makes a very good point. I think I want to make a point, but I kind of want to expand upon that point, though. One of the things that they were able to, the central planners, the controllers, the establishment, whatever name you want to give them, that they were able to do was they understood that if they crashed the economy, or not crashed the economy, but if they, what's the word for it? If the way that people were living their lives was adjusted dramatically in a negative way, that they would see big changes up there. So what they did was they systemically put our government together in a way after 1913. What Birch was saying is true. Right. It was at 1913 when they did the Federal Reserve Act. When they did this, what they did was they instituted the ability for them to be able to. And again, what Birch is saying here is actually was on point in the fact that they have an unlimited piggy bank. They can do whatever they want to do with the money. So they don't have to go back to the constituents and say, I need to raise your taxes because we need to have more wars. That doesn't happen anymore. If you want to go to war, then the Fed will fund it, and you'll deficit spend to do it. If they weren't allowed to do that, then we'd be doing a lot less because the American people would not want to be taxed for all of that stuff. And if you look at, there was a chart that came out that talked about like how much each thing cost. Corporate subsidies is the vast majority of what you're paying your taxes for, and that with the left, I completely agree. Like let me say it a different way, because I was making a point and I'm kind of moving to something else. They've set up the system to be able to placate the lower income people, the people that are on the ladder, and they've made it seem like government's the good guy and the businesses is the bad guy, so these people are always against the businesses, so that allows the government to keep making regulations. What they fail to understand is that this government involvement has caused your lot in life. It's like the government breaking both your legs, handing you a wheelchair, and saying, well, you couldn't get around if it wasn't for us. I wouldn't have had my legs broke if it wasn't for you bastards.
Right.
You guys are the ones that did this. The real culprit here is not just the corporate interests. It's the ability of those corporate interests to have bought and paid for our government. And it's not like you can put somebody else in there and it'll be fixed. You have to make it so they can't go there and make these kinds of changes. That if they want to try to wield corporate influence, they have to do it on a state level where you can't just collect to one place and be able to take them all over. But the other thing I wanted to say is, in closing this big government down, you got to get rid of the stuff that's easy to get rid of first. Mm-hmm. The easiest thing to get rid of is the corporate subsidies.
Yes.
By far. Second one is actually military adventurism. Mm-hmm. All the bases, Germany, Japan, Korea, and I wish he would have said, that's another thing I wish Bircher would have talked about was that, here's the thing, you can talk about when it comes to defense spending, but man, we don't need those bases in Germany. We declared war, but that war has been over for 60 years. We didn't declare war in Korea. We shouldn't have a base there. We shouldn't have bases in these places right now without declaring war. So we got to remove those places, which is why when you talk about the seriousness of the problem that we're in when it comes to debt, I agree with you. But I want to hear what I want to hear more than anything else is that you're willing to say the thing that would not necessarily. It wouldn't cost you the election, but you'd be honest in what the actual problem is. And that you will catch flack for it. But if anybody can catch flack for cutting military spending, it's going to be a general. Mm-hmm. You're the kind of voice we need.
Yeah.
We need the guy that they can't say you hate America because you spent your life defending it.
I definitely think him especially, I would have liked to have heard that we could cut some, for him to say, well, I don't know because I'm not there. But you know what? You have been there. You've been the one that would know. because you've been the one that has been serving, so you would know if there's waste, if there's things going on that we don't need them, we don't need to be spending the money on because you were there. And I would much more take the word of a general than the word of a politician who's never been on the battlefield or never been deployed anywhere of where the waste is. So that is one question that I would have rather heard from him.
Yeah, not just, you actually raised a very good point there, Danielle. If you don't mind, let me expand upon that. You guys, I've told you guys stories about when I was in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was low level, so I was not anywhere near a general level at all. Never even met but one general the whole time I was in the Marine Corps. But with that being said, I can tell you systemically where the problem is in the military when it comes to spending. I've articulated that point of view to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
This man would know better than me about that. And I wish, here's the thing, if you went into how the military is done and how that's a problem and how you can fix that problem by changing how the money is allocated, I think that would have been that would have been a good response to that. You could see very easily, you could see 15% cut across the board in the military right now, and you wouldn't have to cut from anything else other than general revenue funds, and that all it is at the end of the year, you don't get the gimmies. That's really what it is. You'd have to have your desk a little while longer. I mean, and some of these redundant programs that are currently being done, the current weapon system programs, some of those have to go away, but only the redundant ones though. It ain't like you got to get rid of the some of the really cool stuff you can keep, but you got to train again, and all of it's a transition, which is when people use that word, I agree with it. It's a transition, but I want to know where you're going to start taking that first step. And that's what I would really wish I would hear a lot more of, not just from Bircher, but from a lot of people, is make the bold statement now. Adrian will do that for you. Adrian will tell you exactly where he's at on the stuff. I need more people like Adrian in there.
That's going to tell you exactly where the cuts are going to come.
Yeah, and look, and I think I was actually pretty specific when I was running for office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I didn't mess around. I wasn't mess around guy. You know what I mean? Obamacare wasn't going to make me go to Coke.
You'd still be filibustering.
See, another thing that I thought was
stick to the weed.
That I thought was interesting was the him standing up for Social Security and Medicare because these are promises made to the American people, which that argument in and of itself I totally agree with. The problem is those promises were broken already long ago. In fact, it was LBJ that signed off on the law that allows the federal government to dip into the Social Security fund and use it to augment the general fund. And they are able to take no interest loans from the Social Security fund, use that money, and then give back exactly what they had. That's what broke Social Security. They are able to take no interest loans. That money isn't sitting there gaining the interest it's supposed to gain to make the system work. It won't work otherwise. So when it's not gaining interest, the system isn't working. So they broke the system and they broke that promise. You can't say that this promise still stands to the American people because we broke it long ago. So getting rid of that system is the only way to do it. You can't fix it now. It's been broken too far. You either have to start over or just get rid of it entirely.
Greg went LBJ on you.
He did.
LBJ on a Friday, man.
There was
it's Friday. You ain't got a job. You ain't got shit to do.
There was
LBJ, bitches.
There was a lot of things where I could understand him saying, I don't know because I'm not there, so I want all the information. And even though I think that's skirting the issue, and I think it's not answering because at least you could say your opinion, the stuff on the military, I thought you do know better than every single person that's in Washington, D.C. So at least on that, I expected an answer.
No, and again, like I said, in the grander scheme of things, in the Republican primary, it ain't even a question. Right. Like, it ain't even a question. The other two are horrible.
It just happened that the bar was set so low that he could have literally been a tree and been better.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, hey, and again, up to the Liberty Republicans, man. You guys want to see that guy win? You guys better get to work. You guys better be in neighborhoods. I ain't seen you walking yet, so you guys better get on board with that one because I'm just going to give you crap if he loses. Again, the website, 1787network.com. Check it out. A lot of interviews that we're doing that are separate from the ones that you're hearing on the show that you can actually get on 1787network.com. And, within the next month or two, we'll see maybe a brand new 1787 network, depending on I was looking some stuff up last night, and I like what I see.
All right.
So again, thanks guys. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll have Ben Swann on, but we'll see if we're able to make that work. But you listen to Liberty Underground.